Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My music accidentally cut off, so okay, that's fine. That's all right. Well, I'll just go ahead and because I was going to transition that a lot easier. Great, cool start. Yep, cool. Yeah, this is what all the professional streamers do. You know, fuck up their opening and then. All right. So we're gonna get into it today, and I'm very interested about this because people are treating this as a huge dunk, and it's really not. Let me get this. Uh, there we go. It's nice little background music. Pretty quiet actually. Yeah, we'll do this one. That's pretty good. I wasn't planning on this music mix, but I like it. All right. So here we are today. The Trump-Epstein pedophiles. Now, granted, I have no experience talking about this kind of stuff. It's my first time trying it, so only thing I ask all of you is to please be patient because I am trying my best. Okay, all right. So, to my understanding, what has happened with the files is that essentially Epstein came out and said that Trump was a nasty person, untrustworthy, he fucking hated him, and he didn't think that he was a good person. And then I assume the Democrats are all sitting there saying, oh, if Jeffrey Epstein is calling you bad, then you must be bad or something. And the only issue I have with that is these people really omit the fact that Donald Trump was very instrumental in making sure that Jeffrey Epstein went down. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump was one of the first people, if I do remember correctly, to kind of go against Jeffrey Epstein and say, you're a fucking creep, get away from me, and then people are just kind of like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein said his name in an email, so therefore he must have fucked a kid. And what's crazy is that, there was this video I saw of a young woman who straight up said that Trump had been with her there, and that Jeffrey Epstein was like, oh, you should be happy to, lose your virginity or have your cherry popped by Donald Trump or something like that. When, in all reality, obviously there were victims, people who say things there are ways to verify it. But the way that I see it, you can take clips out of context, you can take words out of context, and at the end of the day, people can just lie, okay? And that doesn't even mean that they'll lie about being a victim. Like, you could have been a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile sex island ring kind of stuff, and then lie to try to get some political expedient points because, you kind of fall into that camp or whatever, and say that Donald Trump was there, and since you are a genuine victim, it gives the lie more credence. Now, I'm not saying that she did lie. I'm just saying that is the process of using authority and basically saying, oh, I did this, so I know, to push a lie that is that's not as easy to debunk because none of us were there in the room with her at the specific time. You know what I'm saying? So with things like that, you need hard physical evidence, okay? And people might sit there and say, oh, what if a woman gets raped? Are you going to sit there and say that you're going to victim blame? No, of course not. I will never ever victim blame, right? Nobody ever, I don't think, except the worst of the worst, deserve to be put under those kinds of circumstances, okay? And even then, I become too forgiving sometimes. There's some things where I'm like, you deserve a harsher punishment, but also God tells me to forgive, so I should go ahead and just give you a harsh punishment, but just not the maximum. But even then, sometimes you give the maximum because some stuff's some heinous shit, you know what I'm saying? So I guess the way that I think about it is like, what is it? Trying to gather my thoughts. I apologize. I guess the way I think about it is like, if there's not 100%, maybe not even 100%, just enough there for us to sit there and say, oh yeah, no, he definitely did it, right? Because this is the way the left works, and I fucking hate this, but it's the way they work. They take something that sounds horrible. They take something that isn't exactly, what's the word? It's not like definitive proof, right? But it's something that sounds bad and could be feasible, and people are saying it's true, so therefore desecrate his character, destroy him, and you must make sure that there is nothing that happens. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. I just wanted to do that little preamble because it genuinely disgusts me how some people kind of just do their stuff. I just started up an X account. Well, I didn't start it. I created it in 2020 and then left it dormant for 5 years. But I do have an account. If you want to follow me, I'm right here. It's all cool. We're all good. And yeah, we're going to wrong button. Wrong button. Go back. Oh man, don't you love learning new things? Because I have to learn how to not be an awkward son of a bitch when it comes to doing this. Okay, all right. But this first post right here, so basically my goal is I was just gonna kind of go down the list, talk about stuff, and just kind of see what happens. People who agree with me, disagree with me. That's the beauty of open forums, baby. There's the beauty of open communication, is that I get to hear people who disagree with me, but that's the difference between people like me and the left. Okay, because people like me, we want to sit there and see the different opinions so we can make ourselves the best that we can be, but the people on the left are indoctrinated within an actual devilish cult, and the only thing that they want to do is make sure that other people get sucked into that cult as well. That's the only thing that they want to do, and I'm kind of over it. Yeah, no, I'm tired, man. I'm sick of us being treated like we're the worst of the worst because, shit that the left makes up. When the left has done actually heinous shit and then nothing happens, And stuff that's verifiable too. If we're going by the left's logic, there was a political person that was on the left. Sorry. There was a political person that was on the left. I forget his name. All I remember is the imagery of this guy having the Totenkopf, the actual Nazi SS death's head tattooed on his pec. Or, even if it's not his pec, it's still, but they defend it. They defend him. That's why it's a cult. Is because he's a part of them. Therefore, it doesn't matter what he does. Everything that he does is good. See, but I can't do that. All right, Donald Trump is fucking up with these H-1Bs, okay? I think the Epstein stuff is kind of stupid, but these H-1Bs are definitely, now look, I'm down to let stuff play out, but like just the stuff that we know, okay? And the stuff that has happened, and the stuff, my point being, he's fucking up on the H-1Bs, okay? I feel like he is. I don't want any more fucking immigrants. Keep them bitches out. Train some Americans, okay? Shit, train some Americans, okay? That's all I'm saying, man. But all right, we'll get into that topic another day. Right now we're doing the Epstein file, so we're gonna go ahead and go through. So here is the first person. And by the way, before I say this, do not harass anybody. Even if they are psycho-communists. We do not harass communists. We laugh at their ideas. There's a big difference, okay? Do not hurt them. Do not dox them. Do not do anything. And the crazy part is, I want to say this, and I feel like I need to say this so that people don't do it, but the left will actively say the opposite and say, yeah, this fucking Nazi deserves, to get hurt, to get killed. Oh yeah, his wife deserves to get raped. Like, horrible shit like that. Oh, but that's how you know we're playing by two different rules with two different cultures and two different nations within a single country's borders. It's fucking insane. Absolutely insane. That's fine. That's fine. We're here. All right, so first, this guy named Summit. In this 1992 video, Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein appeared together at a party. If Donald Trump had sex with a minor, he should not be president of the United States. That is all. Release the Epstein files. Okay, so first off, yes, release the files. Every single person that I know on the internet, in person, release the fucking files, okay? Don't redact anything. Just release it. Accountability is what we need, okay? The thing that we need as a nation for the people who are supposed to lead us and do things behind the scenes and all that shit, We need accountability. We need transparency, all right? I would rather know someone's mistakes and their successes behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, whatever. Not even like personally, just government-wise on the professional political level. Let me know your mistakes. Let me know your successes. Let me know where the money's going. Let me know where all this stuff. 100% transparency. Release the fucking files. All right. Secondly, this is another thing that the left does, and I'm not trying to sit here and say like, oh, leftism, that is super bad, but this is something I've seen many times, and this is what they do. If Donald Trump had sex with a minor, Like, I get it. I fully understand that in combination with the video does seem bad, right? But what happens is they remove the context and then they put this out and say, I don't know if it happened. Okay, because let me tell you the context. In 1992, I guarantee you, this was before Donald Trump knew that this guy was a fucking creep. Before he knew that they were sitting there grabbing the girls and everything, okay? Because as soon as Donald Trump found out, he said, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of my property, okay? And that right there specifically is why Jeffrey Epstein despised Trump, okay? That's why he despised Trump, is because of the fact that Trump was not going to play ball, and Trump is a very powerful man, even in 1992. You know how many WrestleManias took place in fucking Trump Taj Mahal, okay? It was either Trump Taj Mahal or Trump Tower. Trump was huge in the 80s and 90s, okay? All right? There's some great shit, you know, and that's why Jeffrey Epstein wanted a piece of it, is because Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell both were parts of, like, these different things for various different places, you know, but everybody is. We all have our own little fascinations here and there, and with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, it was just, hey, you know, fuck kids, make money. And Trump was like, you're not getting any of my money. That was a horrible accident. Fucking kill me. But no, it's Trump was saying, you're not getting any of my money. And then Jeffrey Epstein immediately started hating him, you know. And sure, yeah, Donald Trump's sitting there saying, oh yeah, like, come look at my stuff. Come look at my things, you know. But he does that with everybody. He's a very brash, bombastic dude, and that's why I love him. That's why I fucking love him, is because he sits there and he's like, we're going to put gold in the White House, all right? There's a lot more gold. But the actual video, that's not him, you know, saying like, well, that's, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. That's not Trump supporting what Jeffrey Epstein does, okay? Now, this next thing what I'm about to say might be kind of fucked, but the same reason that he had the new Syrian leader within the White House meeting with him, as much as I fucking hate having an actual terrorist who gleefully decapitated people, and there is a photo floating out there with two severed heads, him holding two severed heads with a smile, and I can't show it because YouTube, but there's an actual photo of him out there like that. And you're going to tell me that you're just going to meet with him, you know? And look, people change, but that's a lot, you know. That requires much change, okay? See, the only way I would accept anybody who sits there and decapitates somebody like that and holds up two severed heads smiling gleefully is if you became the most diehard Christian and every single thing that you did was for Jesus and zero of what you did was for yourself, okay? That is the only way I would accept it, because that is the only way that true change happens, is through Jesus, and when people genuinely want to change. But you see, the problem is a lot of these violent criminals out here, they don't want to change, you know? They enjoy their crime, and they get caught with it. It's like, well, I got caught with it, you know? That's how the stuff happens. And, it's just crazy, man, you know? But people are trying to make this comparison, saying like, oh, Trump and Jeffrey Epstein have been together for 30 years, when in reality, Trump kicked this dude out the second he knew exactly what the fuck he was about. And by the way, this picture here is kind of frightening. Look at that. They're both over there looking at something else entirely, and yet Ghislaine Maxwell is just staring at the camera. And oh, look at this. Look at this. Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. All right. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, it's not just Donald Trump, you know? And Trump's name was never on the Lolita Express. At least as far as I know, like the flight logs, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, Trump's name was never on the flight logs to go to the island, okay? And that's what's more important. Not him inviting somebody into his house, because you can invite anybody into your house, but if somebody invites you to a secluded island on a private jet with all of this good stuff, and then they promise you all of these good things, and you go, okay, the only reasonable explanation would be like, you know what, let's just see what's here. And then once you get there and you realize that it is a sex slave island, okay, fuck the kid part. I mean, we definitely need to have that in there, but even if you want to remove that, it's still a sex slave island. Now, granted, I'm willing to bet Jeffrey Epstein didn't sit there and tell the people who came there, be like, all right, by the way, when you come in here, grab a slave of your choice. I'm sure he didn't say that, right? But something's always off, right? It doesn't matter if you have a slave and you like train her over the course of years and break her mind to fucking be the most lustful person ever and never have an issue with sex. There is still something off with that. You can tell, okay? Your core, in your gut. We all have strong gut feelings, and this is God trying to give us, when we feel really horrible in our gut, that is God, that is Jesus sitting there saying, hey, you know you shouldn't be doing this, right? You know you shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. What the fuck are you doing? You know? And the only way you would stay there with that and actually entertain that is if that gut feeling never hits you. And it diminishes after a while. Okay? Because that was what hardening your heart to God is. God gives you that gut feeling to say, hey, this is not something that you should do. And then people ignore it and do what the gut feeling is telling them not to do, to the point where they get desensitized to it. And now it's no longer, you know, it's no longer God going, you shouldn't do this. It's God going, all right, this is what you want to do. Here you go. You know, and it's horrible because I've had many moments like that, and I still struggle with a lot of stuff. I'm open about my porn addiction. I don't like it in the slightest. Simultaneously, that's exactly how it started. When I first watched my first porn, I had that gut feeling. I was like, this feels wrong. And then whenever I finished, I was like, it feels kind of right. And then I kept doing it because that gut feeling diminished. And nowadays, it's a mere flicker of anxiety in my mind, and then it just washes away when I pull out that phone, you know? And that happens with a lot of things. You know, that happens with pedophilia, that happens with rape, that happens with violence, okay? That happens with arguments, you know? Like with anything in life, the more you do it, the more desensitized you come to it, to where it's just a function, a routine for you. So in my mind, right, the only way that people could sit there, go to this island, and not be immediately grossed out and leave is if that gut instinct was removed entirely. And they have no qualms about looking at women who clearly are uncomfortable, or even if they're not, you still have that gut feeling like, you know, this is wrong. But, you know, something Trump invited Jeffrey Epstein to his house and then kicked him out once he knew it was there. So Epstein emails citing Trump dozens of times. 20,000 pages of Epstein's emails, which reference Trump dozens of times. All right, let me go ahead and... On November 12, 2025, House Democrats on the Oversight Committee released over 20,000 pages of documents from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, containing thousands of references to President Donald Trump and emails showing Epstein's close monitoring of his activities. The files include Epstein's negative remarks about Trump and the details of their 1990s-2000s association, but reveal no new evidence of criminal involvement by Trump or others. The release also highlights Epstein's ties to figures like Ehud Barak and Tom Barrack, amid partisan disputes, and calls for unredacted documents. Now, I just want to say real quick, I appreciate the fact that they said there was no criminal evidence, but you see this? It cuts off right after it says it indicts Donald Trump. That right there is the headline curse, right? All you see is the headline. So whenever it says, the House Oversight Committee released over 20,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein's emails on Wednesday, which reference President Donald Trump dozens of times, the immediate assumption with the mainstream of everybody sitting there going like, hey, you know, Donald Trump's a Nazi, Donald Trump's a fascist. When you sit there and say this, it's also like, Donald Trump's a pedophile, because people are trying to make that connection between him and Epstein, instead of it being Trump thought he'd be a good business partner, and then after the fact, he's like, get the fuck out of my face. They're trying to say that he sat there and exclusively used Epstein to be able to sit there and fuck kids, when in reality, the truth couldn't be more opposite. The truth couldn't be more opposite, man. That's cool. All right, we got Spencer Hakimi in here. Says, breaking, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump spent Thanksgiving together in 2017 while Trump was in office. So let's see. This one is from Faith Cates, redacted. It was sent 2017. It was to Jeffrey Epstein. The note itself says, have fun, sent from my iPhone on November 23rd, 2017, at 8:36 a.m. Jeffrey Epstein wrote David Fizzle, Hans Trump. On 3rd of November 23rd, 2017, at 8:32 a.m. Faith Cates, redacted, wrote, he's such a snooze, who else is down there? Berries color for a holiday. Okay, so that's just the, all right. So that means Glenn checked out his red hair. And then just Eva from Jeffrey. Okay, Dylan, will you Okay, Dylan, want to see you. I always want to see you. Where are you having Thanksgiving? All next week. Um, Fun. When are you back in NYC? Hope today's fun for you. That's that's very awkward. What? What? What is this? Why is it like weirdly spaced and there's one word? Is that it? What the fuck? I know this isn't like the 20,000 pages, but the way I see it, first off, this says nothing about Trump, does it? Besides up at the top. Okay, up at the top, that's it. That's it. Jeffrey, literally all he says is Trump. That's it. He just says Trump. You know? I over here, John Drew says about this, the president's whereabouts are fairly well documented. It took all 30 seconds to determine where he was on that day, and it wasn't eating turkey with Epstein. November 23rd, 2017, President Donald J. Trump publicly reported events. 9:06 a.m., Mar-a-Lago Club and Resort. Delivered remarks via video teleconference to U.S. service members overseas. Thanksgiving teleconference. That's sweet. 10:09, an hour later, he was at the Coast Guard station. Holy shit! An hour later. Okay, no, it's same state. Okay, my mind. Says the president and first lady Melania Trump visited the station. All that stuff. Yeah. So it's very documented what he did that day. And then someone down here says private holiday events. Wonder who attended. Yeah, because God forbid he doesn't want some of his close friends who are private citizens to be put on blast by you psychotic fucking Democrats. God forbid that people have privacy. God forbid that a public figure actually have a couple notes of things that they can do by themselves. You know, so just sit there and say, oh, a private holiday event. Private holiday event means Epstein. Private holiday event means Epstein. To a communist, everything looks like fascism. That's all I'll say. To a communist, everything looks like fascism. Because if you are not communist, you are inherently fascist, okay? To them, that's what they say. And even then, if you're a fucking communist, but you believe in, you know, borders, a nation, not, you know, one specific little detail and everything, you're fucking horrible is what they would say. It's what they would say. And quite frankly, I find it insane. Yeah, and then over here, he says going from 10:09 a.m. until evening. Well, I think we have to understand that just... I'm not going to lie to you. This is the one thing I don't like about doing this, but I also have to get it with experience. I need to get to a point where I can formulate my thoughts in a more coherent manner. Because a lot of these things over here on the comments, those are things that I'm trying to respond to, but my mind's going a million miles a minute, so I just need a sec to gather my thoughts. First one here. Oh man, so from 10:09 a.m. until evening. Huh, real specific. Okay. The thing I would say to that is, first off, they don't fucking owe you a timestamp just because they gave you this, which also, by the way, these up on top are public things. Mar-a-Lago is public, okay? For the teleconference of members of the military, that is public. If it's not publicly streamed, it's at the very least public record that it happened, okay? Like anything military related that's like on that kind of level, because there's so many videos of the president with soldiers behind him or in front of him, or like, you know, the Department of Justice head. I don't know. I gotta fancy up on my terms. That's my fault. But you know, like Pete Hegseth, he did that speech in front of the soldiers, which was absolutely badass. You know, like, yeah, God forbid that they actually have timestamps for things that are recorded, that are on record, okay? And then 10:09, same thing. Whenever, thanks to hurricane relief, 10:09 speaking time, contemporaneous news video and coverage. So there's video and coverage that he started at 10:09, all right? Then you go to late morning, early afternoon, Trump International Golf Club, Palm Beach area. After the Coast Guard visit, the president's motorcade went to nearby Trump International Golf Club. Reports and pool coverage indicated he hosted and or met with Coast Guard members there and was at his club later in the day. Several news outlets published photos and pool accounts showing the motorcade club visit. But I guarantee you, because that's a specific thing that he is probably doing more privately, that they're not going to give you a specific time because nobody knows it, right? And of course, I understand that I just said that things are recorded, but not everything. All right, the big public things that make America look cool and everything, like having a decent, wonderful speech towards your soldiers who are overseas, that right there makes sense to have a timestamp. But somebody going to a golf club, to a fucking golf club, you need a timestamp for that, Mr. Oh man, so from 10:09 a.m., Mr. Rob, this is America. No, for real though. Don't owe you a fucking timestamp for going to a golf club. Public figures can have private hobbies too, okay? Just because he's the fucking president doesn't mean that he has to owe you a timestamp for whenever he hit the putt-putt and how many goals he made and how many strokes on the fucking golf course he had, okay? And what his personal record is. He doesn't owe you that shit. He owes you the policy that he's doing to stick to that, okay? That's what he owes you. The president, Congress, the House of Representatives, all of these people, what they owe you is the policy that you vote them in on, all right? They don't owe you that they like to take a drink on fucking Sunday evenings before they go back into work on Monday because they want to loosen up. They don't owe you that they sit there and smoke a joint on a Tuesday afternoon whenever they got nothing to do and it's their day off somewhat because their state, it's legal, and they just want to smoke a fucking joint, you know? Like, that right there is the problem, is the fact that people are sitting here saying all of these like, it makes sense on the surface when you don't critically think about it, right? Oh man, so from 10:09 a.m. until evening, huh? Real specific. If you just look at the dots, again, the headline curse. These people who say this shit don't read into this stuff. All right? All they see is 9:06, 10:09, late morning, Thanksgiving. They're like, haha, I got Trump. No, you fucking don't, you degenerate bitch. Okay, because let me tell you exactly what it is. Nobody owes anybody anything in this fucking life, all right? The only thing that we owe is our life in servitude to Jesus Christ because he died for us. You understand that? That's the only thing that we owe when we live, all right? We don't owe shit to anybody else. There are obligations. You have obligations to, you know, participate in society and pay your taxes and make sure that you're not a degenerate son of a bitch. But at the end of the day, people can do whatever the fuck they want. That doesn't mean that they're free from consequence, of course. But at the end of the day, to sit here and oh man, I can feel the smugness and the toxicity through this comment, even though it is so wrong. And you want to know? I just personally think that you are a silly, sorry son of a bitch, because you're grasping at something that's easily debunked in like 5 seconds. You know, to sit here and say, just because he doesn't give you a timestamp from 10:09 a.m. to the late morning, early afternoon thing, because of the fact that 10:09 a.m. he was recorded speaking on news conferences, the various news videos and coverages and all that stuff. He's like on record. So 10:09, sure, yeah. But then late morning, early afternoon, he doesn't owe you a timestamp for when he got to the fucking golf course. Same thing with his Thanksgiving dinner. He doesn't owe you a timestamp like, we had Thanksgiving dinner at 10:09 p.m. And a horrible Trump accent. My throat is scratchy. I'm out of root beer. But no, he doesn't owe you anything, you know, Mr. Rob. And it looks like we have another viewer in the chat. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I'm always happy to have more people come in here and talk and try to see the difference of opinions. But no, it's kind of crazy. And then you have all these things. He had a private dinner that evening at Mar-a-Lago. That's probably where Epstein was at. Now, I will say, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. So just because it doesn't say it, doesn't mean that he was there, but it also doesn't mean that he was not there. Simultaneously, though, there's news coverage and local reporting for the Thanksgiving at Mar-a-Lago, okay? Now, just because the private events themselves weren't recorded in public record, but at the end of the day, somebody, somewhere, would see Jeffrey Epstein. He's a distinct individual, okay? And he is a powerful, notable individual. So to sit here and say that he was sitting there going to Trump's 2017 Thanksgiving thing is fucking atrocious, man. But you know what? We just keep going. We just keep going. Here's a funny meme right here. So desperate. It is. It really is. 2015, we got him now. And then 10 years later, we got him now. And you're still going to be doing it 10, 15 years from now. Let's see. We tried concealer, but I don't know if we'll ever be able to cover that up. Even though it's wrong, that's funny. Even though it's wrong, that's funny. Okay. Liam Neeson says, Epstein victim wrote, I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. So Jeffrey Epstein, to him, it says, I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, yes. Okay. And then the other person says, sorry, that is 2512 for the gate. Jeffrey Epstein wrote, 10 p.m. Should I bring special cake from New York? Person says, very well, just send me the address again and the code to the door so I can get to the second floor, and send me the day and time. Thanks. Jeffrey Epstein says, you are welcome at my house always, and more private. Now, yes, his name right there with the person, saying, hey, I don't want to be there if Trump is in your house. Two things. One, I understand wanting to protect the identity of victims. I'm not going to sit here and say that people need to be, outed. They need to be, like, doxxed or anything. No, of course not. But in my personal opinion, now, I may be wrong about this. Let me know in the stream chat if you disagree here. But when you redact the names on something this huge, something this big, it automatically undercuts your point, right? Because who's sending it? This could be a fucking Democrat operative trying to make Trump look bad. Or this could be a genuine victim that didn't want to have Trump be there and be used by him. Simultaneously, though, the two smiley faces at the end of it right there, the two things, that makes it seem like it's a joke because it's 2017. So by this point, the connection between Trump and Epstein had been 10, 15 years, 20 years down the fucking line, because that video was from 1992, right, where they were in the same thing. And again, that video, the second Trump knew who he was, he kicked him the fuck out, right? He knew exactly what it was. He said, get the fuck away from me, and worked with the police to get Jeffrey Epstein put behind bars, okay? Why would you put your business partner behind bars? Oh, so you can take over the fucking operation? Or some stupid shit like that? Like this stuff makes no sense, but let me get back to my point. Redacting the names, that right there is very, it very much undercuts, everything that you're trying to do. And it can also, considering the fact that the smiley faces are right there, this takes place in 2017, okay? So it's far known that Trump and Epstein had some kind of connection in the 90s, and then Trump severed it as soon as he knew who he was. The fact that this stuff is still coming out. When did this stuff start? I don't even fucking remember. It was what? 2016? Whenever it was that this entire thing started with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump, where they're trying to say that Trump was in the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files. I can tell you right now, if Trump was in them Epstein files, we would know about it. We would fucking know about it. Because we have to understand, Trump is such a huge figure, and not just because he's president, he built his name into a brand. His name itself, the name. I'm sorry, I know I'm stressing this and it's probably cringy. I'm sorry about that. But how many people besides it's not something that everybody does. When you make a business, when you make an entrepreneurial type thing, right? Whether your father's rich or he's not, right? You normally pick a name that makes sense for your product, right? Like if you're making a pizza joint, you'll Jack's Pizza or something, okay? Or Pizza Hut, fucking Domino's. You can do some shit like that. But Trump turned his fucking name into an icon. And the only thing he knew was he was known for was being rich, which by the way is not a bad thing. But for the most part, that's pretty much what the fuck he was known for, was just being the rich guy. So everybody loved him because that is the pinnacle of the American dream, and that is why I believe Trump should be America's king. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. That's a conversation for another day. But my point in bringing that up, with how powerful Trump is, with how much with how much fucking publicity he had and how much clout that he had, if they wanted to take Trump down, okay, these things that they're releasing trying to damn Trump, this shit would have been gone ages ago, okay? This would have been out ages ago, right? And I don't mean like, 30 years ago. I mean like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. If Trump genuinely, if Trump genuinely was a fucking pedophile who went to Epstein Island, we would have known this shit as soon as the fucking flight logs were released. Right? I'm not sure if they were. I remember hearing things about that. I don't. But my point being, like, all this is fucking political theater. Okay, we understand this, and yet people are still playing ball. Why are we playing ball with political theater when we know for a fact that this bitch right here who sat there and said, "I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house," was fucking joking? All right. To know for a fact that this shit happening in 2017, when in fact Trump was well on his fucking presidential campaign, or not campaign as in like trying to be president, but presidential campaign as in like being the president. Like when you go on a fucking military campaign or some shit. He was on his fucking presidential campaign. Making shit better for people, doing all these different fucking things to make sure that the people who are subjugated by the fucking Democrats, to make sure that those people can have their fucking livelihoods not ripped away from them because they don't believe that kids shouldn't be fucked by people wearing a dress with an unshaved fucking beard, right? That right there is why I don't believe any of this shit, okay? Every single time something else comes out about Trump, every single time I believe it less and less and less and less. And I encourage you to do the same, okay? And the only reason I say that is because of the fact that every single time beforehand, Russia collusion, motherfucking, Trump, Epstein Files version 1, okay? And then the stuff that was like adjacent to him for the people that he like appointed and stuff, the Kavanaugh fucking hearing, where that weird bitch said, hey, he raped me 30 years ago, and then it was proven false fucking immediately because Kavanaugh's a square who keeps a fucking journal. Come on, man. Like, and they keep doing this. They keep going for it. And there's still people here who have who give this kind of shit validity. And that's the reason why it's not going away. And I don't even mean the lefties, because I expect the left to give this validity because they want to have any chance that they can to enact their great communist state into America, because something they don't know history and they never heard, and here's the part that fucks me up. They don't read history, and if they do read history, they can just deny it. Like, that's something we have to understand. It's an important phrase to say, hey, you need to remember your history so you don't repeat it. But if somebody's indoctrinated enough to believe in some kind of fucking a evil ideology, right? If someone's indoctrinated enough to believe that, then they're fucking indoctrinated enough to see the atrocities in history and go like, it's a necessary sacrifice. Hundreds of millions of people murdered by communism. It's a necessary sacrifice. And you know what, something? That right there is the huge, that's the issue. That's the issue. The fact that they sit there. Us being rational, normal, level-headed human beings in America, and I'm not even talking about MAGA, I'm talking about rational, level-headed human beings, like fucking John Fetterman as well, a goat of a Democrat, right? I don't even follow Democrats, but John Fetterman's a fucking G, dude. I swear. He's like one of the group that's like of the sane Democrats who are like, what the fuck is this extremism bullshit? But people like him. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Shit. But it's just, we're at a point now where they're bringing out the Trump files again, I guess, because the Steele dossier wasn't enough, the Lolita Express flight logs wasn't enough, people trying to lie on him and indicting him wasn't enough, him getting impeached, quote unquote, because the Democrats love making politics a video game. Because let me tell you like this. To the Democrats, the American people are nothing more than chess pieces on a board. Okay? We're not people. We don't have lives. We're just objects for them to twist and turn to their own manipulation so that they can actually get the power that they feel they deserve. And we all know this. We all know. I'm not saying anything new. I'm not saying anything new. We've known this shit for decades. For eons. We've known this, and and we're still entertaining it. We still haven't arrested any of these motherfuckers. We still haven't done anything that needs to be done because something, I don't want to be seen as a fascist. Well, they killed Charlie because they called you a fascist anyway. So let me ask you something. If they call you a fascist anyway, they call you a Nazi anyway, they call you Hitler incarnate anyway, and then they kill you, what the fuck are we doing? Because we are at a point now where we cannot exist together, right? One side has to crumble and surrender for us to be able to come together, right? That's all I'm saying. That's where we're at now. The only way that we can coexist as a society is if one side completely shatters and gets absorbed by the other side. And them lefties sure as shit ain't stopping anytime soon. 4 months sieging the ICE facility. And it still is going on. People going out there trying to do whatever it is that they want to do, whether it's being a reporter or just being a white guy or just being adjacent to a fucking Republican. That's enough to get you beat fucking senseless and bloodied, right? That's enough to get you stomped like a motherfucking Goomba, okay? That's the part that bothers me the fucking most. Because this isn't a hypothetical anymore. We have died. We are being attacked. This is no longer a hypothetical. This is an active war against Christianity, MAGA, Trump, whatever you want to say, the right, whatever you want to say, these psychotic communists and these fucking extreme Muslims. I'm sorry, regular Muslims, but I repeat myself. These people, they want to destroy everything good in the world because something, I feel good to have multiple wives. I feel good to let a black man fuck my wife. I feel good to give money to people who are going to sit there and use it to fund sexual slavery and human trafficking and pedophilia because it makes me feel good to do something that's considerate towards people who don't give a fuck about me. That's where we're at. That is their mindset, and they are willing to exterminate anybody who goes against it. See, now look, I'm an authoritarian, but I am not a totalitarian, okay? There is a huge difference. All right? And these leftists and the Muslims who come in here and they want to turn America into some kind of fucking Islam dystopian type shit. What happens with that? It's very simple. They are totalitarian, all right? Because authoritarianism and totalitarianism go hand in hand most times. But you can still have authoritarianism without totalitarianism. Because totalitarianism is the convert or die mentality, right? It's basically, you have to do what I say or I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to hurt your family, or I'm going to do something that is totalitarianism, you know? And I boil it down to convert or die. That is simply what it is. Authoritarianism is, hey, I don't see, because in my mind, authoritarianism, even though if it may not be, you know, these fucking Antifa people outside of the ICE facilities, okay, run up in there and arrest every single one of them. And if they try to attack you, live ammunition, bitch. Live fucking ammo. I don't care. Use low velocity rounds if you have to. You know, the hollow point so you don't pierce into fucking nearby neighborhoods. Semi-auto fire so you don't go into that. Because that's all I'm saying, man. They want to sit there and siege a fucking government building. Because this isn't a protest. This is a siege. They have smoke grenades, they have flares, they are attacking people, they are bloodying and beating people, they are threatening people, they have to have DHS fucking snipers to sit there and protect certain fucking people, and even then, they are still being violent and still destroying everything, and no National Guard. No sweeping fucking force, okay? No, hey, stop that right fucking now, or you're gonna be exterminated, okay? Because to me, there's a difference between you have to do what I say or you're gonna die, versus you have to stop harming innocent people and terrorizing people because you're not getting your way in the political game that we have, or you're gonna die. There's a difference between that to me, because one, totalitarianism, the convert or die mindset, that right there is something that is inherently anti-Jesus, anti-Christian, all right? Because free will, our freedom of choice to choose God or not, to choose to be good or not. That is literally the core tenet of what our existence is choice. And we have to sit here and we have to make the right choice. And the right choice right now is whenever somebody sits there and terrorizes a neighborhood for months on end, you smite that shit with the fury of Zeus, okay? But no, I'm sorry, that makes me an extremist. That makes me on par to Hitler, because I think that people sitting there terrorizing innocent people for 4 months on end, multiple months on end. Same thing with the fucking George Floyd riots in 2020. Because I want to sit there and say, hey, don't burn down your fucking city. Don't loot your fellow man's fucking business that's gonna cause them to be homeless and be in a worse position for the shit that you're trying to fight. No, they just wanted an excuse to burn down shit, to riot, to destroy shit. They wanted an excuse to do all of that fucking bullshit. And they want an excuse to live action role play and to pretend like they're actually going against fascists. But the difference is they believe it. The difference is they believe it. This isn't some guy dressed in a fucking knight suit with a foam sword going up and fucking around with his buddies who throw fucking paper lightning bolts at him. Okay, the shit we used to find cringy and be like, oh, you fucking nerds. I would prefer an entire country of that if it means that I could get rid of the terrorism that is coming from the... See, I want to say communist left, but the left is communist. It's like the same thing. Oh, they're actually socialist. The same thing! Communism and socialism are the same fucking thing. But I'm sorry, it makes me an extremist because I actually want to have proper civil discourse. Even if I was the Kaiser of an entire nation. I know my name is Kaiser, but that's just a name. If I was a genuine Kaiser and I had full unchecked ability, I'm still gonna let the fucking freedom of ideas go out, okay? I'm still gonna let people sit there and fucking have freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of Christian religious expression, because all the other religions are false religions, therefore they do have zero place within my nation, right? That kind of shit, you know? Oh, but I'm sorry, I'm an extremist because I want people to speak. Because I want the discourse to happen. Because let me tell you like this, I do not have all the answers. I am not a perfect person. I do not have every single detail in my pocket. But a group of people can get far more details than a singular person can. So that is why I always try to surround myself with people who are either smarter than me or who are willing to challenge me, okay? That's what I want in my life. I want people who are not just going to be yes men, who are going to be like, sir, I'm not so sure about that, you know? Should you really wage war on Russia? And they'll just look at him and be like, well, I'm not so sure. Why shouldn't we? And then they tell, and then we go back and forth and da-da-da-da-da, and then boom, we make a decision, all right? That is the core of what it means to be human, is discussion, dialogue, debating. That is the core of what it means to be human. And when you destroy that, when you kill that, the only thing that's left is fucking violence, okay? And the left, you commie motherfuckers, let me tell you like this, all right? You do not want the violence. Neither do we, but you definitely do not. The only people who want wanton violence to happen, I probably said that wrong, but wanting violence to happen are the only people who have never seen it. I know it's a classic talking point. I know it's not new to say the only people who want war are the ones who have never seen it. But it is more prevalent now than ever that people want they want that kind of purpose. And to them, their purpose is, hey, this guy's a fucking fascist, we need to take him down. But the only issue is that their purpose is misled, it's misguided. Their purpose is not a real purpose, it's a falsified purpose from political activists and you know, devious actors who want nothing more than to sit there and to siphon you of all your money and turn this shit into Total Recall. All right? That's all they want to do. Have you working fucking 18 hours a day on a fucking factory line so that them and their fucking elitist buddies can sit there and have their fucking shit, all right? And yeah, it happens on the right too, but at a far less degree, and quite frankly, at a negligible degree, because every time it happens on the right, Every person that I follow looks at that and says, hey, you need to fucking relax. And that's how I feel about Trump right now with these H-1B visas. Why are we importing 600,000 Chinese students? When the Chinese have been known to use these kind of underhanded espionage tactics against us. But I'm sorry. When Laura Ingraham said, hey, the Chinese aren't the French, and then Trump said, oh, the French are better. I despise the French, but yeah, I'd prefer the French over the Chinese. Do the Japanese, do the Laotians, do the Thai, do the Cambodians, the Vietnamese, the Taiwanese, Mongolian, for fuck's sake, anyone except China. But no, I'm sorry. Donald Trump knows what MAGA wants more than what MAGA wants. And I get it. He was the one who created MAGA. But you know who disagrees with Donald Trump? Donald Trump! That's fine. I think tomorrow I'll tackle the H-1Bs. I'm passionate about that. The more that I exist in the modern political landscape, the more I'm despising immigration at all, just in general, you know? Like, stay. You don't belong here, Failer. Stay over there, bro. Shit, man. And like, I'm not even trying to be a dick when it comes to these things, but it's just been so long that we've just had this shit happening. All right. So this guy right here, Bridget J, earlier, is saying, remember this? When Musk says, time to drop the really big bomb, Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And then mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. I think the thing we have to understand and the thing we have to know is, yes, if Donald Trump worked with the fucking police, he's gonna be in the Epstein files. I mean, not only did he work with the fucking cops, okay? But there was obviously the 1992 video. So at the beginning of their relationship, it was all cool. So I guarantee you there was some kind of record. And then Trump said, get the fuck out. And then Jeffrey Epstein went on a whole raging tirade about how much he fucking despises what Trump did. Because of the fact that it goes against his fucking, you know, whatever it is, because he dare slighted the powerful Jeffrey Epstein. Or some shit like that. That's the attitude I get from the emails I've seen. You know? So yes, of course, he's going to be in the fucking Epstein files because he helped take the motherfucker down. That's what he did. Oh, but I'm sorry. This right here is how the left gets you. It's the lie by omissions. That's what it is. They don't tell you the proper context so that you understand exactly what's happening. No, they just say, something, Trump's in the Epstein files. There's his name. You see it? He's in the Epstein files. He fucked a kid. Instead of sitting there having a critical thinking about their actual mentality and going like, wait a minute. There's actual physical public record of Trump despising this motherfucker. And yet the only thing that you want to do is sit there and, because of the fact that he is against your communist utopia, which has never happened and it will never happen, the only reason that kind of shit is going to happen is because they want everybody who's not a communist to convert or die. You know, it gets me, man. And I get drained, mostly because I'm being loud and I'm being hyper about this shit, you know? But simultaneously because of the fact that this isn't just, you know, a guy who happened to become president, and then he's just like, let me put it to you like this, right? There is so much worse that so many other presidents have done that you could persecute. You could sit there and say was the worst of the worst, etc., etc. Various wars, various personal scandals, you know? I mean, Quite frankly, if you ask me, I would say that JFK, fucking Marilyn Monroe, or at least members of the Kennedy family at that time, that's a bigger fucking scandal. Maybe not bigger, right? No, it is bigger because of the fact that Donald Trump, as far as we know right now, is not a fucking pedophile, right? because the only thing that you say with these things is, hey, he was in the files, okay? You want to know who else is in the files? The fucking victims. Does that mean that the victims helped perpetrate the actual fucking rape and the sexual slavery and the pedophilia? The victims are in the files. Let's go through the files, okay? And I guarantee you, there are multiple people who are not pedophiles who are in that fucking files. So just because Trump's in the files doesn't mean he's a pedophile. But you see, that's the issue. Us critical thinkers, we can understand that. Let's get a smoking gun first. But no, the Democrats, they don't want to sit there and give you the raw, unfiltered truth. They have to twist it. They have to sit there and put a little twist on it and put a little hootenanny or whatever on it so that you sit there and you get the wrong impression and they lie to you. We didn't lie to you. The only thing we spoke was truth. Yeah, you lied because you didn't tell the entire truth. All right? But I'm sorry. That's not as bad as outright lying, because at least when you lie and you don't tell the entire truth, you're still telling the truth. If you ask me, lies by omissions are more vitriolic and venomous than fucking lies outright. Because at least when you lie outright and you learn it's wrong, it's like, oh, we'll never trust you on that topic ever again. You know, why should I trust you if you're going to lie to me? But when you sit there and you say the truth, but you leave out important context that changes what that truth means, that is more insidious, because you're showing something that is verifiable, that other people will show you because it happened, it is true, you just don't get the full context, so something trumps a pedophile. But no, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. No, that's how they get the fucking white women who are at home all day, or if they're not at home all day, they're fucking easily gullible and manipulatable. Because their fucking girlfriends sit there and say, oh, girl, you need to get into this politics stuff. Or maybe a fucking guy that they know where it's like, yeah, I'm a good ally. I'm a feminist. Can we fuck? Can we fuck? And then she gets into it and she's like, oh, all men are pigs and Trump's a pedophile. And then they start going out and pushing this shit. Liberal white women are the destruction of the modern world, okay? That they are. Because they're so concerned about compassion, about everything. And you know what? I'll go a step further. It's not just liberal white women, it's liberal women in general. Because liberal women of any race, it's going to be in different flavors, but it's the same type of spice. The only thing that they care about is being fucking considerate. But on a toxic level, and they don't like the idea of having to hurt people. And I get it. I don't want women to be out there being sadists. I don't want that. But I also don't want women getting in the way of men doing what we need to fucking do. Okay? Because the only thing that women do whenever we sit here and try to do that kind of violence, you know? I tell you, if women couldn't produce babies, they'd be a liability. And I know that might be an extremist statement, and I don't think it's misogynist, because there are plenty of great women out there. But if we're going to talk about overall, a world full of men would be far better than a world full of women. You know, because at least with a world full of men, shit gets done. You're staying on conversation. You know, it's like you're not bringing up old shit. You're not going through all of these horrible things, being like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it's like, no, what is, bitch? Like, what is? Not what about, what is? And right now, these fucking liberal white women in the fucking government, you know, these fucking communists are the progenitors of why we have so much horrible shit, okay? And guess what? It took a strong white man to get back into the office to fix it. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say that white people are the best. No, I'm not a racist. I don't believe that any race is superior to any other race simply because of the fact that our DNA is the same, okay? You might have specific differences. You know, black people are better at basketball or something. They have sickle cell. White people get sunburned easier. You know, simple shit like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter your skin color. All of us are on the same level because we're all created equally in the image of God, okay? Same thing goes for women. When I sit here and say that, you know, if women couldn't reproduce, then they'd be useless or something. I do believe that, but not in a way that's aggressive, not in a way that's combative. No, as a matter of fact, in a way that's protective, because I understand. Yes, women can be, what do you call it? They can be useful. They can do things outside of just that production, right? But the way I see it, just get a fucking man to do it, because it's going to be done better. It's going to be done efficiently, you know. Like if I'm gonna have a deck built, I'm not calling women, you know. If I want to have code written, I'm not calling women. I'm sorry, you know. Unless it can be verified with physical proof that that woman does a better job than the man I'm considering hiring, I'm not. No, I will be prejudiced because of what women have become. In the modern day, women have become these horrible fucking cretins who think that men owe them everything, and if anybody criticizes them ever, then they're fucking racist, sexist, etc., and they should be fucking something rape accusations, and therefore his entire life is ruined because I said, hey, I don't think that you should sit there and be up your own ass all day every day. But that's besides the point. If we keep going down here, this guy Maine, Donald Trump had sex with a minor. He should not be president of the United States. That is all. I think so. I think I agree with that. And the only reason I say I think is because, yes, pedophilia is wrong. We should not be sitting here propping up people who did have sex with a minor. But at the end of the day, I'm at a point now where when these people being leftists, get your mind out of the fucking gutter, you racist liberals, you racist leftists. But no, people meaning these leftists, these fucking white leftists, bro. And it's not just white, but it's like, all I'm saying is there's a demographic, right? And I hate to bring race into it, but we all know that this is what it is. Like, there's sure as shit any fucking white right people to sit there and say something, you know, horrible shit all day, every day. And what I mean is like the structure of the sentence. If Donald Trump had sex with a minor, whenever we don't have the files, we don't have definitive proof, right? You know, and it's not him sitting there saying, oh, I'm not speculating this. He's basically saying, hey, I think this happened. If it did happen, remove it. And I can agree with that on a certain level. Yes, we shouldn't have pedophiles in positions of power. Simultaneously, people who say this shit are disingenuous as fuck. All right? Now if you have somebody like J.D. DeLay or something, like a really great dude, you know, who's like anti-pedophile as a part of his brand, okay, I get it. You know, it's because, but the only reason I believe what JD says and not this fucking faggot here is because of the fact that JD goes out and does what he believes. He said, as far as I know, he said he was going to sit there and, what do you call it? Work with Chris Hansen to actually like catch predators, you know? And I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah, bro. You know, he went down to Portland during the siege. Him and his team snuck into fucking Antifa places, you know, and he talks about how horrible all this. See, that right there is something that's respectable. You just gotta keep pressing on something. And I'm not saying that you have to make it a part of your brand, but whenever what you press is verifiably false, it's verifiably wrong, or if it's not verifiably wrong, it's not verifiably right. So you sit there and pretend that it's right, even though you cannot verify that it's right or wrong. You just say, oh, if Donald Trump. And you know what? On principle, I agree with it. But because you're a leftist, fuck you. That's all I'm saying. I don't even know this guy. I'm being too harsh. I don't know this guy. But this is a leftist talking point. In the sense of how it's structured. Because let me tell you like this. If I were to say this and say it in a way that's not saying that they are a pedophile, I would say something like this. Look, in these emails, in these files, it's going to be a lot of damning stuff. There's going to be a lot of, you know, not good stuff. So I do believe that if it does come out that Donald Trump was engaged in these types of things, he should not continue to be the president of the United States. And you know what? Maybe I'm just flowering up the words, and maybe it's just the same shit but prettier or some shit. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between being blunt with an actually like important matter that requires finesse and requires us to have all of our ducks in a line and all of the evidence in place and all of the things done in a way so that we're not throwing innocent people into the line of fire. But at the end of the day, to them, he's Hitler, so he's not innocent. So, like, it's a compounding effect. And it all starts with the base. If you're not against us, if you're not for us, you're against us. That is the base of what they want to do. And it seeps into everything. And it's the reason why they're so extreme as they are. Is because of the fact that it's like, if you're not in support of fucking communist Marxism, intersectionality, trans children, drag queen story hours, immigrant rape gangs, open borders, having no money, being subjugated as a class because you have paler skin than your neighbor. If you're not on board for that, you need to die. That is what they say. And I think... Give me a sec to collect my thoughts. It starts at that core. At that core with the convert or die mentality. And then there's so much propaganda and so much lying that goes out there and that happens because of the fact that this is all orchestrated, you know, and they try to give themselves plausible deniability. And I get it. Circumstantial evidence is a lot different, right? But I genuinely am at a point now where I believe that circumstantial evidence is an excuse to, in this current political climate, with the current political actors that we have, circumstantial evidence is just an excuse to protect people who want to destroy the country. Using that term and using those things as like, oh, it's only circumstantial. We didn't see them give Antifa the bricks. Well, there's fucking records of George Soros funding the pallets of bricks, you bitch. So, what do we do? What do we do, right? We just let them keep getting bricks. We just let them keep fucking destroying the ICE facility, throwing smoke bombs, tear gas. And even if the ICE agents are throwing that, the fact they have to throw that in the first place is not their fault. Oh, but something ICE agents are fascists. Something ICE agents are fucking Nazis. They're fucking Hitler-esque. And the only reason that it's gotten this far out of hand is because we don't have somebody who's an authoritarian. I'm sorry. Authoritarianism is moral, and it should be lawful. And there are plenty of lawful ways to use authority to squash fucking insurrections. Actual attempts to take over the government should be squashed with the strongest authority possible. And some people might sit there and it's not an insurrection. They're not trying to take over the White House. They don't have to. Okay. Let me tell you why this is an insurrection, right? The Antifa within fucking Portland attacking the ICE facility. This is an insurrection because of the following. They're attacking a government building. They're doing it for political reasons. They're doing it for political change, and they will not stop until the political change happens or they get squashed. Whether that means they die or get disbanded as a fucking unit, who knows? But that's why it's an insurrection. They target government building, and they're doing it to get their way, politically. And if they don't get their way, they're going to continue doing it. So it's an insurrection. Because January 6th was one day, and they weren't even there to take over the government. They were there because they felt that the fucking election was stolen from them, which, by the way, is another reason I don't like democracy. But as far as the systems that we could have for America, we have the best that we could have. It's just we have a lot of fucked up, immoral, mentally ill people in the system. And even the founding fathers themselves said that this system can only work for a good and moral people. But I would say that that goes for any system. Any system has to have a good and moral people leading it, or else it will not work. And yet, and I just hate that, you know? I'm an extremist because I believe in this, that, and the other, left, right, etc., you know, that kind of shit. I'm not even a full-blown right-winger, bro. Like, well, I wasn't. I might be now, but I used to be somewhat left, man. And I kind of still am. Ish. I don't know. I've gotten very radicalized because of the things that these fucking leftists and communists do. So I don't even know where I am on the political spectrum anymore. I definitely align a lot more with right wing than left wing. But even then, like, I'm willing to be moderate on a lot of things. But it's just, it's just insane to me that these kinds of things happen. And the fact that, like, nobody really gives a fuck. And nobody's willing to, like, step up and do something about it. And even the guy who we fucking voted in to do this is half-assing it. And then going on these other side quests that nobody wants. Who the fuck asked for 600,000 Chinese H-1B visas? Who asked for that? Certainly not me. Certainly not my neighbors. Certainly not MAGA, okay? Certainly not the fucking people who voted you in, El President. Not those people, okay? But no, Trump knows what MAGA wants more than what MAGA wants, because it's not like we voted you in on policies to stop immigrating people and to kick motherfuckers out. No, it's not like we voted you in on that. We voted you in to bring more Chinese people in, so there could be more spies, and they could be stronger than us and smarter than us, so that whenever they get the fucking power, they can just make Chinese America, right? But they don't need to wage war, because they'll have the highest AI tools to their advantage. They'll have the greatest rare earth elements to their fucking advantage. They'll have the greatest workforce, because you cannot compare with fucking slave labor. You cannot compete with that shit. Oh, but I'm sorry. All of that stuff combined, put on top together, and then make it realize that China doesn't even have to invade America. Because you could just have an unlucky string of 2 or 3 pro-China fucking people getting voted in if Trump doesn't do something strong fast. If he doesn't do that, you could get a bad salute. Now, granted, I'm hopeful for J.D. Vance's presidency. I genuinely believe that J.D. Vance would be an amazing president, just because of how he kind of, like, talks and the way that he interacts with other people, the way he respects military, the way he respects the American people. You know, who knows? Maybe this is some kind of fucking, everybody memes on Trump for 4D shit. Okay, well, what if Trump doesn't ruin the country, but he does some 4D chess shit, so that at the end of it, J.D. Vance looks like the hero, and then you just have 8 years of J.D. Vance to really solidify. Okay, all right, look, let me say it like this, right? If that's the case, it's kind of fucked, but you know what, Trump? Maybe. It's kind of fucked if that's the case, bro. If you guys are liking the stream, go ahead and feel free to share it off to your friends. Make sure we get this out here, because I would love to be able to build up this brand and this page here with these streams, and be able to connect with a lot more people and let people know you are not alone, okay? I know there are a lot of people out there who are like me, just like the one person who has been gracious enough to stick in here this entire time and listen to my psychotic ass rant. But genuinely though, like, I want to be able to do this and help people out, and I want to make it like a real thing, and I want people to be able to feel free to express themselves, and feel free to be able to leave their fucking house and not get assaulted or raped, or have people, try to steal their shit. Or if they do try to do it, I want that innocent civilian to pull out a fucking Dueler 1911 and plug 17 holes into him. Well, or your weapon of choice, I should say. Or your weapon of choice. Because, but honestly though, I know there are people out there who are like me, and I want to show them, like, hey, you got somebody here who's willing to try to start something up that's not what's being offered out there. It uses elements of what's being offered out there, but it's the core design of what I'm doing right now is very different than anything I think, because of the fact that I'm so intense about it. Because I don't think I'm an extremist. In a few parts I probably am. But I consider myself a man of high intensity when it comes to politics. I have zero tolerance for anything evil, right? but I am willing to change my mind, and I'm very intense about both of those things. You know, I don't want to stay on an idea that's gonna cause harm to innocent people. But simultaneously, I also am very steadfast and headstrong in my own beliefs of what it is that I want to do, what it is that I believe. And I just, you know, I don't want to sit there and just like, I really hate whenever I start word salad,ing, because I'm trying to like say some genuinely thoughtful stuff, but then I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Maybe that's God's way to tell me to like move on to the next point. maybe. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Kyle Griffin, Jeffrey Epstein, 2018. I know how dirty Donald is. Let's see what this is. Jeffrey Epstein to Kathleen Roomler. You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York biz people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. And then Kathy wrote back, it makes no difference whether it was his money. Issue is failure to disclose. Plus, the fact that he has lied his ass off about it makes it clear that he knew it was illegal. Okay. I think he makes the argument that it was Trump's money, making it not illegal. This was by Jeffrey, by the way. Though he also said he only found out afterwards. And the fact, according to the indictment, was billed as services rendered and grossed up. I'm sure his account has flipped anyway. I did talk in detail to Star yesterday. RC indictments? I don't know what that is. How Trump can make a deal. Special counsel. Clinton's trash can. Yes, Star gave me more. Yeah. Kathy, here's a story from the New York Times that I thought you'd find interesting. The principled case for impeachment is clear. What's missing is the courage. Confidential, maybe attorney-client privilege. Okay, that's just legal talk. Let me go ahead and go over to this image over here. Did Trump help get Epstein convicted with the knowledge he had? And then Grok says, yes, Trump severed ties with Epstein around 2007 after learning he recruited underage girls at Mar-a-Lago, banning him from the property. Victim's lawyer Bradley Edwards confirmed Trump voluntarily shared useful details about Epstein's activities when contacted, unlike others who stonewalled. This cooperation predated Epstein's lenient 2008 plea and aided exposure efforts, though media often overlooks it amid Epstein's unsubstantiated claims. Even fucking AI says it. Trump helped put Epstein down. Shut case, done. It's over. But it's not over because people still want to sit there and run with the narrative saying, oh yeah, Trump's a fucking person. I'm sorry, go back to that. I know it's AI, and I'm not here to say that AI is more, I'm not trying to sit here and say that AI is more relevant or authoritative than humans and like actual fucking like information that you get from humans. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. But at the end of the day, AI uses stuff that's available on the internet. And it can be programmed to do certain things. But this is stuff that's verifiable. Trump severed ties with Epstein around 2007. Now, granted, that's 15 years too late in my book. But, because like the first video of them is in 1992, right? So you go to 2007, 15, yeah, it's not. Simultaneously, though, the way that it's phrased here makes me think that he either didn't know it was happening until 2007, or, now this would be kind of fucked up, and I want to open it as a possibility. I have to be fair. Trump knew that he was doing it to different areas, and he just said, nah, we can still be business partners. But the second it happened at his business, then if there's evidence for that, that is fucked up. But here's the problem. Evidence. Okay? When you go to spiritual stuff, that's whenever it's got to be faith-based. That's whenever it's like, oh, I sat there and I'm trying to do this thing, but at every single turn, back and forth, bop, 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 I get shut off through no fault of my own, and I keep trying, and there's always something that happens. That right there, to me, is a spiritual sign that you need to stop.
And that's whenever God's trying to say, hey man, it's not gonna work. You know, and I'm just like, yeah, you're right, I need to go. That's faith-based. Is the spiritual shit, the shit that you can't prove, right? And I know people would be like, oh, well, it's just coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences anymore, man. It's either divine intervention or a plan from people trying to work behind the scenes. There are no coincidences anymore. Very few. But when it comes to things that physically happen with us, with our bodies, our physicality, you must have tangible, observable proof if you want to have a genuine conviction, right? And I get it. Earlier, I said we need to be done with circumstantial evidence. I said that. But I also believe that it needs to be a prejudice system. And I don't mean in the sense of like, you know, oh, I don't mean in a sense of like, oh, you're black, 25 to life. You're white, go free. Nothing like that. But what I do mean is if there is a history of you know, lying to try to get people killed, being a political activist in a way that has led towards people being killed, people being persecuted, people being severely wounded. Because like, let's not forget, you can be fucked up, vegetabilized, and still live. Okay? You don't need to be killed to get fucked. And yet people still do that and like, oh, you didn't die. So you have that. And it's at the end of the day, bro, what I'm trying to say is these people have been doing this for decades. You know? It's over. It's fucking over. They need to go to jail. They need to be prosecuted. They need to be persecuted. And if the treason is high enough, they need to be executed. Do you understand me? But it needs to be done through the legal channels. It doesn't need to just be vigilante justice. It needs to be done in a proper and legal way that everybody within that jury agrees on. But no. That makes me an extremist, even though all throughout fucking human history, that's what they did. If you worked against the state, you're dead. Why? Because if we let you go and we exile you, you're just going to tell them the shit you know. And then they're going to bring you in as one of them because you helped them go against us. You know? So I'm like... All right. It is about to be 5:30. I'm going to wrap up, kind of just sitting here for a minute, for the next 5 minutes, just kind of mentioning whatever, and then I'm gonna try to take a little break at 5:30 in about 5 minutes. So yeah, I want to thank you all for being here, and we're just gonna kind of hang out for a minute. If you are listening here and you would like to go ahead and subscribe, I'm down for that. Do the whole see, what's funny is I used to call it the YouTube unholy quadrinity, because you have the Holy Trinity, right? You know, God, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Well, then I called it the unholy YouTube quadrinity, and I do quadrinity because it's got to be different. It can't just be 3; it's 4. You know, like, follow, comment, subscribe. Or no, no, it was like, share, comment, follow. That's what it was. The unholy YouTube quadrinity, and I feel cringe saying that, but at the end of the day, you know, I genuinely want to reach as many people as I can, and I want as many people to come together so that we can all fight evil, or at the very least, just be a drinking club. Fuck it. But no, I want to help people out in a way that I know I can do good. And I'm not the best political commentator. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a Tim Pool or Steven Crowder that's been doing this for decades and they're a fucking seasoned veteran. You know what I'm saying? I'm nothing like that. But I'm passionate, I got moxie, and I've got time, okay? Because I'm still waiting for Wendy's to get back to me on a fucking job application. They have not gotten back to me. I applied. It is what it fucking is, man. So, yeah. So, I was gonna say, go ahead if you want to. Go ahead and comment down something interesting about yourself. Look at this. Look at this. Great. Oh, there's Asmongold. Yeah, I had that on my wrong. Yeah, but no, it's crazy to me that these things happen, and we just kind of let it go. We just kind of push it forward, and we're like, you know what? Who cares? Who cares if I'm running a blank here. I'm sorry. Who cares if our children get, brutally raped and drugged? I mean, there's just so many stories that I've read about young girls getting taken by groups of fucking immigrant Muslims or immigrant Indians or immigrant fucking dirty people. I'm sorry. Like, dude, it just, not because you're brown, but because your culture sucks, okay? You throw shit at each other in India. Why should I import that? You fucking blame women for being raped in Muslim countries. Why should I support that? And yet you want to come over here and do that to our kids. And then we just have to sit here and accept it. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Because something, we don't want to be Islamophobic. I am the biggest Islamophobe, bro. I will take the trophy of top Islamophobe against these motherfuckers. Do you understand? Dude, you lose my sympathy and my support the second you start sitting there and hurting those innocent kids, okay? Okay? That right there is when you gain my fervor, my ire, my fucking vengeance, and the fury that comes out of me, bro. And I know there's so many other people who think like that because when it comes to hurting innocent people, it's fucked. But then when you go and hurt innocent kids, that right there is a level of fucking violence, a level of evil that if anybody stoops down to, it's hard to come back from. It's almost impossible to come back from. The only thing that can bring you back from that is Jesus Christ. If you kill someone, you can come back from that. Like, it was fucked up. It was a spur of the moment thing. Even if you rape a woman, I don't support any of these crimes, by the way, but even if you rape a woman, I still believe there's some way for you to find forgiveness from someone else and from yourself to be able to do that. But to me, everything goes through the filter of Jesus Christ. And if you're going to ask me about genuine change, about making sure that somebody actually changes, if they want to change and they go to Jesus, they will change. I'm a living fucking example of this. I used to be a psycho lefty commie who was a fucking trans kid who wanted to be with a guy, okay? I was literally the poster child of the shit that the left wanted. And here I am, because of Jesus. Amen. I'm gonna go on break. I'll be right back. right, I'm back. Okay. So, we are at a bit of an impasse here in this country. Man, I gotta blow my nose, sorry. All right. So we are at an impasse in this country. We have a huge issue because of the fact that half of the country looks at everything we see here with these Trump-Epstein files, right? Looks at everything we've seen, looks at the stuff that we know, looks at just everything that's been within the actual culture, right? Things that have been proven, that have not been proven. But at the end of the day, it has not been proven that Trump was connected with Epstein, right? Like, there's nothing that's out as of November 13th, 2025, that proves without a shadow of a doubt that Trump and Epstein were connected far beyond just whatever it is that they were, and that Trump, fucked a child. There's no proof of that. But the hard part is that the Democrats wanted to pretend like it was some kind of truth, That's what it was. They wanted to pretend. Let's go to refresh, see if we got anything new here. Let's refresh. Damn you, Alex Jones. Stop taking my audience. Oh, man, that's fucking funny. My gosh. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Alex Jones is a beast. I fucking love you, man. Now, I don't know if it was automatic or not, but I followed him earlier, and he followed me back. I was like, yo, what's up with that, bro? Like, that's what's up. I know I'm a nobody, but I would love to do something with you. You, Steven Crowder and his crew, the conservative twins. Hodge twins are fucking funny. And then you got your other people, Shuon Head, Lauren Chen, Megyn Kelly. I'd love to be on Gutfeld. I fucking love that guy. He's great. I love Tyrus. Somebody call my mama. I'm sorry. I know people don't like that gimmick, but I loved Brodus Clay. I love that. And then, I thought he was alright in NWA. I mean, I only saw a few matches, and I didn't, I didn't get like a super big understanding of what it is that he did in NWA. But at the end of the day, I like his wrestling. I liked what he did. I liked when he was muscle for Alberto Del Rio, or was it Christian? No, Alberto Del Rio. But yeah. I loved when he was muscle for him. It was pretty good. I like that combination. It was fun. Which kind of sucks that Alberto Del Rio kidnapped somebody. So I liked his moves. The cross arm breaker was pretty cool. Step up in Zaguri. I'd probably steal some of his moves, but I don't know. It was great. But I guess I would just love to collaborate with any of these guys, Some great stuff. I was watching his stream earlier, but I assume he's, I don't know. He was talking about some things, and then he started doing some call-ins, which is pretty cool. I like that. I haven't watched the show often, because what's crazy is, back when I started politics, it was 2014, 2015, and I only started politics because I was facing pressure from the black kids in my school. And what's crazy is that it was an all-black school, and there were at least a couple kids there during the election. One in particular I remember, who I was in the detention office, where it's like, if you fuck up for the class, you go to this room for the rest of the day, and then after the bell rings, you go to your next class type shit, right? I was in that room, and there was a bunch of other kids in there, and I was like, the way that my family describes the population density between the races was like if you had a bowl of black beans and you dropped a single grain of white rice. That was the racial differentiation, and I was a part of that grain of white rice, and I am thankful I didn't get fucking cooked, okay? Because I was very much sinking within that bowl. But I was there, and this guy, we were in the like detention room, and we sat there, we were talking, the election came up, and then talking about like who you voting for, da da da, and then it came to me, and the guy was like, "Hey, who you voting for?" He didn't threaten me, but one thing I will say though is his body language genuinely looked like he was ready to knock me out if I said Donald Trump. Because the way it is, he like was sitting down, and he was like, "Oh, who you vote for, bro?" He kind of like stood up and like cocked his arms, like, you know how your arms are at your side and then you pull your elbows back a little bit, you know, that kind of like that Cassie Cage pose, you know what I'm saying? But genuinely though, like how you kind of just pull your elbows back a little bit, you're just kind of like puffing, I guess puffing your chest out would be a better way to describe it. He just kind of like stood up and puffed his chest out a little bit, and he was like, "Who you voting for, bro?" And at the time, I wasn't into politics. You know, nowadays, I would have squared up and been like, "Trump, bitch, what's good?" Nah, I'm not very combative unless, you know, and if somebody just sat there and just asked me who I voted for, you know, I wouldn't get combative. But, you know, it's a joke. Fucking, it's a joke. But he said that, and it really, like, threw me off. I was very, very concerned. I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, what? You see, in my mind, the question that I had was, what is it that, what gets you feeling so strongly about a certain individual that just the potential for this guy to say something opposite than what you believe is grounds to beat his ass? Like, fucking, what? You know, it just didn't make sense to me. It never made sense to me. Alright, so right now I'm seeing a lot of trending here, and I kind of just want to hang out and comment on a lot of stuff and just like not only give my 2 cents, but also just kind of talk with anybody that might pop in here. Being realistic about it, that'll probably be fucking nobody. That's all right. We all got to start from somewhere, man. I'm thankful for the opportunity that I finally have full good internet that I can stream without dropping the stream, bro. I love it. I'm thankful to God for that. Now I got to put in the hard work. That's all it is. So yeah, I'm going to be talking into the void to the one viewer that's me on my phone, keeping the stream up just in case anybody pops in. Oh, shit. That's good. Oh, self-deprecation is my favorite kind of comedy. I'd say like second or third favorite. What are the others? I don't fucking know. All right. I'm gonna try this different, right? Now go ahead and let me know in the comments or the stream chat or whatever, what you think about this, and then I'll change it depending on what people say. But I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to different topics and start talking and just kind of reacting and commentating and just see what's up. And yeah, I'm gonna just have the title be like the main topic that we're gonna spend the first. Yeah, there we go. Structure. Yeah, woo! I'm not a loser. I can actually do this. All right, so I think that's what I'll do. For the first hour, I'll have the title be what we're talking about. And then for however long else I'm streaming, it'll just be off the cuff shit. But right now, we are having, let's check the trending tab. JD Vance links illegal immigration to U.S. housing crisis. Fucking, of course. Vice President JD Vance attributed the U.S. housing affordability crisis to 30 million undocumented immigrants competing for limited homes, sidelining American citizens during a Thursday event. He detailed the Trump administration's strategy to ease construction of homes and factories while accelerating deportations to boost supply and reduce demand. Critics dispute his immigrant figures, citing official estimates of 11 to 12 million, and point to corporate investors and zoning laws as key factors in high prices. Well, first off, 11 and 12 million is still too much! It's still too much. Deport all of those motherfuckers. I don't care if they are paying taxes. If you do not have an American citizenship, you do not belong in this fucking country. End of story. Secondly, isn't it so typical of the fucking left? Something, my corporations, man. Except for when the corporations support what it is that you want, then all of a sudden they're the good guys, you know? But when it's expedient for you, oh yeah, the corporations, man. And then zoning laws? Okay, let me ask you, are zoning laws government laws? You know, are zoning laws controllable by the government? Okay, if they are controllable by the government, then why isn't the government fixing it? Okay? Oh, I'm sorry, because what the left says fixes it is just give me more money and trust that we're building the homes, when in reality we're funding fucking Muslim terrorists and we're funding an invasion of the West. You know? And we're funding something about $1 million for a fucking shrimp to run on a treadmill in water? Like, what? I remember hearing a story about that. I don't know if it's true, but that sounds batshit insane enough for a fucking government to do. I don't know why they would do it. And I think any reason they would be willing to give me is fucking bogus. You know what I'm saying, man? Shit. Alright, let's go ahead and listen to... let's go ahead and pause my music. Listen to what JD Vance has got to say here. Pause that, turn that on, and...
I know that there are a lot of people out there, Sean, who are saying things are expensive. And we have to remember they're expensive because we inherited this terrible inflation crisis from the Biden administration. But you've already seen signs that things are getting better. The price of eggs has gone way down. The price of energy has gone way down. The price of gasoline has gone way down. And as we know, when the price of energy goes down, that starts to filter out into the entire economy, but that also takes a little bit of time. There's another component of this, Sean, which to me is maybe the most important because I care so much about our young people being able to afford a good life. A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we had. So what we're doing is trying to make it easier to build houses, trying to make it easier to build factories and things like that so that people have good jobs. We're also getting all of those illegal aliens out of our country, and you're already seeing it start to pay some dividends.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like when you remove the people who are leeching off of your system actually works a little bit better, you know? Like, it's almost like when people sit there and criticize the system, they tend to forget that the system is being currently propped up and influenced by the people who want to siphon resources from the people who want, like, the good, innocent, law-abiding citizen. The people who would rather, you know, the EBT Americans, those people. Those are the people who, if you got off of the system, you know, you got them off of the fucking system, it would actually work good. But no, instead we have to sit here and pretend. We have to sit here and pretend like, what's the word? We have to pretend like every way of life is valid. So if somebody wants to sit there and make some kind of minimum wage and just live off of their EBT, like I saw a video. Okay, all right, perfect. I know about the housing crisis right here. It's definitely way too expensive, and I absolutely love JD Vance. But let me see. It was EBT of TikTok. Here we go. I don't speak English, lady. No, I'm a joke. 40 million Americans on Snap. Look at this. Yeah, and then she comes over here, just peels at that. Hold up. Look at that. I didn't see the first one. It went from $5 to $22. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I'm sorry. I know I sound like a seagull, but I mean, dude, look, man, You really? Like, you can't tell me. Acts like one, gets called one. Yeah. It's see, and then she's just like, ah. And then you have this guy right here who makes a great point. That's not funny. It's literally theft. People like this make prices rise for everyone else. And that is true. The more you steal, the more you take away from people who are genuinely trying to do what they can, trying to do something good that they can do. And trying to feed their fucking families. When bitches do this, there's a child out there who doesn't get to eat. When bitches do this, okay? When they do this, there's a fucking kid out there who is not able to eat because the fucking steak goes from $22, which it already is, to fucking $30-something, $40-something. And it's going to keep going up the more that fucking EBT Americans do this shit. But I'm sorry, it's racist to say this because you don't want your children to starve. You don't want your neighbor's children to starve. You don't want your fellow countrymen's children to starve. I don't give a fuck if you're in New York or Texas. Your children should not starve. But bitches like this are entirely selfish. And I only say bitches because it's the only word that I feel comfortable using in this specific moment in time, okay? I would say bitch if it was a dude too. But no, it's this is the entire reason why it's the classic phrase, this is why we can't have nice things. It's because people want to cut the corners, cut the line, and it's encouraged. It is promoted by the people in power in these areas. Okay? It is important. It is like so important to their fucking core of their culture that they don't really give a fuck because, oh, I'm sneaking around it anyway. Who cares about paying full price? Who cares what the prices are? I'm not paying that shit. It's like the same other EBT fucking, it's like the other EBT Americans who sit there and say, hey, we need our food stamps because we don't want to work. And if you're going to take those away from us, we're just going to steal shit. They are stealing shit. They will continue to steal shit. I'll get verified later. Confronts people stashing stolen goods from a grocery store in their car. The alarm's going off. Yeah, they're trying to get out quickly. Look at that. Yes! Fight back!
Don't do it! Don't do it!
Swing on him! Swing on his bitch ass! Fuck him up! Yeah, fuck him up!
Don't do it, I say. Don't do it.
That's right. Fight them bitches. No. It's not, it ain't worth it. Y'all motherfuckers ain't worth it. No. Drag his ass out of the car, beat his ass, and take the shit back. You see, if those workers dragged him out of his fucking car, beat his ass into a bloody pulp, and then called the cops, I would give them a civilian, like the highest fucking civilian honor possible, because that's what civilians need to do. That is what they need to do, okay? Because when people do that, I hope to God, that's what I'm saying. I hope to God that those fucking like, look, somebody had to get a shot of that license plate right there. 562 JGE. Now, there's no guarantee that they're going to have that same car. Maybe they're not stupid enough to have that. Maybe it's a stolen car. You never know. But at the end of the day, at the end of the fucking day, arrest those motherfuckers. Every single person who's doing this deserves at least 5 years prison time. I don't care. 5 years minimum. No deals, no cutoff. All right, because you want to know something? My family struggles too. But we don't go out here and do this shit. We live in fucking we are not banking, all right? We are like living day to day, all right? And we are trying to get jobs. We are trying to make stable income. We are trying our best to be productive, contributive members of society. And then you get leeches like these fuckwits who want to sit here and make it worse for everybody else because they're too fucking lazy to go get a job. They're too fucking horrible of human beings to actually respect their fucking fellow man to be able to sit there and actually go and do something. All right? But no, I'm sorry. Something, because they're black, because they're not white, they get a pass because racism. Because some horrible people did some horrible shit way before any of us were alive in places that we probably don't even live in anymore. You know? In ways that are not the same. That automatically justifies you stealing $15. No, I'm sorry, $30 worth of fucking steak. You preparing to box a worker, bro. Preparing to throw hands with somebody who's trying to be a genuine, productive member of society. You would rather bash his fucking face in like a caveman because you want to steal your shit instead of actually sit here and try to be a productive member of society. Go out and work. Go out and do certain things that, you know, good people do. But these people don't give a fuck about being good. The only thing they give a fuck about is selfish desires because that's what they've been raised to give a fuck about. It's because of that fucking young nigga culture. That's exactly what it fucking is. Those fucking people who sit there and go like, oh yeah, I'm a thug. I'm a fucking gangster, bro. You know, those people who would sit there and fucking shoot you because you want to sit there and, you know, oh, you disrespect me, bro. I'm going to kill you. I'm gonna kill you, nigga. You disrespect me, I'm gonna put a hole in your fucking head, nigga. And yet that right there is shown as the pinnacle of black society. When you want to sit there and say before segregation ended, I would argue that black Americans had it better. And I'm not for segregation, but I'll tell you right now, the destruction of the black transportation systems, the black banks, the black work opportunity zones, you know, I'm not for forced segregation, but it is undeniable that those things, they helped out black Americans far more than this EBT fucking stealing $15 worth of shit would do. I'm sorry, $17 on that price tag. And what about this one? Is it the same thing? Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, because her bitch ass can't fucking get it because she's a fucking slug. Holla, holla, ay, almost $36 worth of meat. And she's, you mad? You know what? Yeah, I am mad. I'm mad because evil wins on this planet. But at the end of the day, people who do this with no remorse, and people who would rather hurt their fellow man to do this with zero remorse, and they reject Jesus and his teachings, those are the people who are going to burn in hell. I'm sorry, there's a special place for them. And I'm not a preacher. I'm not going to claim to be a preacher. I'm just a guy who loves Jesus. And I'm a guy who understands certain things about what Jesus does. But I also do not get everything right. So if I get something wrong, I'm open to being wrong. But to my understanding, even if this bitch says that she's for Jesus, this is not Christ-like behavior. And I don't care if she is or not, okay? Because when you do this, it doesn't matter what you say, your behavior is different. It doesn't matter what you say, your behavior is different. And everybody needs to fucking understand that. She saved on food by simply swapping out the price tags. Yep. So it's a common thing now. They're swapping out price tags. So, okay, I know this isn't going to get anywhere, but anybody who wants to sit there, like, okay, all right, anybody who works at one of these grocery stores, all right, I would say have a very close look on the self-checkouts. Even get rid of the self-checkouts. Fuck it. Okay, I understand, but no, this is about security. This isn't about convenience, okay? We lost the privilege of convenience when we started promoting these fuckwits to be able to do whatever it is they fucking want to do. Now what you need to do is have somebody go through with a physical person to scan every single fucking item. They check the tag, take the top tag off. Oh, bitch, you got this $5 tag on a $22 steak? You pay $22 or you fucking get out of the store. End of story. But I'm racist because I don't want black people to eat because I'm saying they have to pay proper prices for these meats. Shut the fuck up, you fucking pussy. Every single fucking person who uses those kinds of arguments, if they immediately go to you just want, shut the fuck up. You don't know what I want. I am telling you what I want. And if you try to say, you just want No, you're just trying to twist my words or say something that I didn't say. So shut the fuck up and pay $22 like the rest of us. The ones who go out and grind for 40 hours a fucking week and get like 200 bucks. You know? I could make some money with 200 ducks, you know what I'm saying? But no, the rest of us who are going out grinding for 200 bucks a week because the job opportunities are shit, and you with your fucking $900, $800 of SNAP a month, you privileged fuck. No, I'm racist because I think that privilege is bullshit. I'm racist. Not them. The ones who say kill all whiteys. The ones who say that white people need to die. The ones who do not want white people in their fucking existence. Who want to treat white people as a second class, as fucking slaves if they're not killing us. That's the kind of people that get propped up. And the people who sit here and say, hey, I just want you to contribute just like the rest of us. That right there is the destruction of the West. The destruction of the West is because we prop up people like this who would rather... Now, I don't know about her, but I don't give a fuck because too many people who are like her, who do the same exact shit, will have the same mindset. Saying that white people need to die. White people, the white devil, right? And yet most of them want to sit there and get a fucking white woman. Make that make sense. But no. The people who would do this steal from the American people. Because let's be honest, this is stealing from the American people. Somebody who saved up the money, knowing that the price tag on the fucking meat was $22. The week before, they're like, okay, I got to save up money on my next paycheck. They get paid. They set aside $22. They come in, and now it's $27 because your bitch ass wanted to steal. Or, worst case scenario, it's $37 because that was $18 worth of fucking meat. But if you combine 2 slabs that she fucking had, that was $36 of fucking steak that she decided to take. Because she wants to be so fucking lazy to not go and get a job, or just to be so fucking evil that she doesn't give a fuck about anybody but herself. But yet I'm the racist for saying that she needs to be locked up. I'm the racist for saying that this bitch needs to go. That this needs to go. I'm the fucking racist. Got Mar-a-Lago here. What we got? Mar-a-Lago kitchen worker against Trump? What the fuck? I work in the kitchen at Mar-a-Lago. I make his food. I'm certified to handle utensils made of pure gold. I pee in the... Okay, that's gotta be fucking a joke. I post this every time the left tries to link Trump to Epstein. A man of means. Yes, Trump knew Epstein. He admitted it himself. The photos of them together are before 2003. In 2004, Trump not only barred Epstein from Mar-a-Lago estate, he also placed a bid on property and won in Palm Beach that Epstein was looking to purchase. This man cut under Epstein? That is some gangster shit, bro. In 2005, Trump revealed Epstein's secrets to PBS CO investigation. In 2006, 2 of Epstein's victims confirmed they knew Trump had barred Epstein from his estate in Mar-a-Lago. All right, this is a list. A man of memes. You are truly a man of great character. Let's continue. In 2009, Bradley Edwards, the prosecutor on the Epstein case, made a public statement that Trump was the only individual who helped in the prosecutions against Epstein. Repeat, Trump was the only individual who helped in the prosecutions against Epstein. Per victim testimonies on the newly released Epstein-Maxwell documents reveal that Trump was not seen on Epstein's island or anywhere with Epstein. He was not seen on Epstein's island by the victim testimonies. The victim testimonies. The victim testimonies. You want to talk so much about the victim's stories? Well, how about the victims that said he was never there? Okay, let's continue. The newly released documents show that the FBI withheld victim evidence in 2009 and 2014. All right. Who was the president in 2009 and 2014? Obama. Who was the FBI director in 09? Mueller. Who was the FBI director in 14? Comey. Who led the Russian collusion hoax against Trump? Mueller and Comey. Who was Mueller's key witness during the Russian collusion? George Nadler. Who was recently sentenced to 10 years in prison for pedophilia, dozens of images and footage of children being essayed? George Nadler. Who was the Secretary of State under Obama? Clinton. Who was Epstein's victim list on the pedo island? Who did the victim list? Clinton. Who funded the Russian dossier? Clinton. Who fired Comey? Trump. Who praised Weinstein for being a great human in 2013? Obama. Who was Obama's VP? Biden. Who was running for president against Trump? Biden. Who received campaign donations from Epstein's law firm? Kamala. Who is Biden's VP? Kamala. That's it. That's it right there. And I know it's just a guy. It's just a guy. Oh, but he's verified. No, it's just a guy. But I'm more inclined to believe this than the motherfucker sitting there saying, oh, these 20,000 documents that just got released prove that Trump is a pedophile. I'm much more inclined to believe a man of memes on something he just posted 20 hours ago with zero, verification other than the blue check mark, which is really easy to get, by the way. You know, I would much prefer that shit and just blindly believe that, which I don't, you know. But at the end of the day, these are things that I've seen and, I have read and verified before. But I'm sorry. Maybe I make a mistake. Maybe he makes a mistake. So it makes everything else invalid. Therefore, Trump's a pedophile. That's the left's logic. That is the logic of the left. And the only thing that they do is destroy. They don't give a fuck about us. So the only question is, why do we give a fuck about playing their game? Because we're still playing their game. Send in the National Guard. Oh, they're a fascist. You called me that for 15, 20 fucking... You know what? You called me that ever since the end of World War II. I'm good. You know, I'm going to call in the National Guard, and I'm going to actually restore peace, and I'm going to shut you the fuck up. And we're going to arrest those fucking Democrat politicians that sat there and supported this shit. And we're going to arrest Kamala Harris because she sat there and said that the George Floyd rioters should continue rioting. That is not free speech. That is not free speech. Free speech is, hey, I don't think, like saying the rioters should not stop versus saying that you do not have a problem with the rioters are two very different things. Because if she sat there and said, well, they're just out there trying to, you know, make their voices heard, that's free speech. Even though it's fucking wrong, it's free speech and a lie. In a way, even then, I don't even think it's right to lie. I forgot to turn my music back on. It's all good, though. It's insane, man. Joe Biden needs to be fucking locked up, too. Right Angle News Network. Okay. This is going to be a right-wing biased news, but at least they tell you that. Let's see. Breaking. Democrat shills have been caught pushing the lie that President Trump spent Thanksgiving 2017 with Epstein, despite him having been publicly photographed and documented by the press spending the holiday at Mar-a-Lago with his family and senior White House staff. Yeah, look at that. Dude, there are so many people. There are so many people I'm convinced are just paid off to say whatever it is that the Democrats want him to say. I'm convinced that there are people who are paid. I know that they're paid. I'm convinced about it. Democrats twist Epstein emails. Donald Trump was the FBI whistleblower who turned him in.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, He is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever. But
I do want to say real quick, that gentleman is the lawyer for the victims, okay? So the lawyer for the victims is saying that Trump cooperated and had zero indication that he was a part of it. All right? That is insane. Let's finish it out.
had good information, that checked out, and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that. He didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then.
All right. Let's go ahead and read this real quick. Democrats twist Epstein emails. Donald Trump was the FBI whistleblower who turned him in. Democrats and their willing accomplices in the drive-by media are I've never heard that before. Drive-by media, that's a new one. Are peddling lies that Trump knew about Epstein's girls. What they refuse to say is that Trump was the one who blew the whistle. In 2004, he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after discovering his crimes. Okay, so what I said earlier about Trump maybe just not one... No, fuck that. Trump never knew. That was just poorly worded. He never knew until he banned Epstein as soon as he knew. After discovering his crimes, then cooperated with the FBI to expose him. Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed Trump's role as an informant, while even Epstein told author Michael Wolff that Trump was the man who turned him in. The truth, Trump stopped Epstein. He didn't enable him. Trump is the reason that Epstein went down. And yet people are still saying that Trump's a part of it. Merrick Garland sent a SWAT team to Mar-a-Lago and had FBI agents looking through Melania Trump's underwear drawers, looking for something to take down Donald Trump before the 2024 election, but he kept damning Epstein information on Trump. What? I don't... Is that a word? Hold on. I just need to see real quick. What is... no, not damning. No, so that must be a different... But he kept damning Epstein information on Trump hidden. Oh, damning Epstein. Okay, just probably forgot to put the N in. Damning Epstein information on Trump hidden. I'm sorry, that fucking confused me. Damn text limits. Double the text limit, we're good. President Trump ever touched Epstein's crimes, he would never have run again. Full stop. He built an empire, a family, a legacy. He lives to win and protect. No way he risks it all on underage girls. That's not him, never was. He banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago the second the rumors hit. Victims like Virginia Jeffrey said repeatedly Trump did nothing wrong. Zero. Dems had total power for years. Raids, impeachments, witch hunts, and found nothing. So why leak 20-year-old nothing burgers now? Is it because Brennan, Page, and Strzok? I don't know how to say that. Just got grand jury subpoenas over Russiagate? The real scandal is closing in. This is pure deep state panic. Same damn liars, same playbook. We are done. President Trump is innocent. We're not falling for another hoax. Exactly. Fucking exactly, bro. Trump is innocent. Trump is innocent, man. He's not a fucking pedophile, man. He's not. And look, I don't care if this ages poorly. There is zero evidence that he is a pedophile, and everything going against the fact that he is a pedophile and going towards the opposite of it. So why should I believe the Democrats who say Trump's name was in 20,000 Epstein emails and ignore the context? Because what they want you to do is hear Trump, Epstein, 20,000 emails and think, damn, this guy fucked a lot of kids, huh? Like, that's what they want you to connect together, because nobody sits there, the general person doesn't sit there and read through this shit. And that right there is why America's going downhill, is because people aren't focused. You know, I despise when people say, oh, I don't care about politics, I don't follow it. Well, no. I'm not saying that you have to be a fucking political activist, but what I am saying is that you need to watch both. You need to watch both sides. You need to verify the information. You need to make sure that you are as informed as possible, even if you don't care about politics. Because quite frankly, politics cares about you. And there are a lot of white people out there who are like, man, I just want to work and I just want to, hang out at the end of the day. I don't really want to vote. Well, at the end of the day, the people who want to see you enslaved are going to vote. Okay? And they are going to fucking vote to enslave you. And then when that policy passes, you are going to have zero option in the matter then. All right? And that right there is the part that people need to understand. I know it's cliche, but if you don't care about politics, politics cares about you. Trump's H-1B Haitian workers prepare another elite feast at Mar-a-Lago for him and his rich friends. I don't like the H-1B. I prefer that to be American workers. I'd prefer you to I would prefer if you would fucking train American workers to do this shit instead of damn, Trump. You're making it hard. You make it a little hard with this H-1B shit. That's all I'm saying. You're making it a little difficult. Based on information that we have, Epstein recruited victims at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. Yeah, no, that didn't fucking happen. That did not happen. Yeah, okay, show us the information. Show us the proof. Show us what you have. If you can't do that, shut the fuck up. Okay? If you can't do that, or if you can't give us a reasonable reason to believe in what this is, you're fucking... It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's no reason why any of this shit is happening. Let's go to the latest tab real quick. I had that on top. Let's go latest. Do we have any... Nothing like a okay. Oh, that's Mar-a-Lago. Hang on. Yeah, let's go here. This, the top. Okay, top is that. Let's go latest. See what we have. JD fans, you think this tweet aged well? Not in position to do something while we're hearing crickets from you. Do you remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring, and then that guy died mysteriously in a jail, and now we just don't talk about it? So, okay, you saying that you think this tweet aged well? Yes, it actually aged wonderfully, because Trump had nothing to do with Epstein. You fucking degenerate. Do not harass them, by the way. Anybody I point out, do not harass. Do not harass them. That is not good. That is not Christ-like. Defending yourself is Christ-like. Not actively going on the offensive towards other people. Don't do that. That's not good. But at the end of the day, you're a fucking idiot. They'll revert to a nuclear war to distract from What? What are you... No, go back. Go back. What are you replying to? What are you replying to? President Trump ordered action, and the Department of War is delivering. Today, I'm announcing Operation Southern Spear. Oh, so we're invading... Are we invading fucking... What is it, Venezuela? Dude, Pete Hegseth is a G. Is that Pete Hegseth? For me, names and faces, I have a hard time putting that together, names and faces. But regardless, this guy is a G. I love him. Make no peace with evil, destroy it. Exactly. Make no peace with evil, destroy those fucking things. I bet this isn't going to happen. I bet this will not happen, but that's fine. All right, President Trump ordered action. Yeah, Pete Hegseth. Yeah, fucking G, bro. President Trump ordered action, and the Department of War is delivering. Today, I'm announcing Operation Southern Spear, led by Joint Task Force Southern Spear and Southcom. Real quick, what's Southcom? Southern Command. Okay. This mission defends our homeland, removes narco-terrorists from our hemisphere, and secures our homeland from the drugs that are killing our people. The Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it. Fucking amen, bro! That's right! If your fucking neighbor is a pedophile, you do something about that shit. If you know it's happening. If you know it's happening and can verifiably prove it, you do something about it. Godspeed, Pete Hegseth, and the fucking U.S. military. Absolute G's, dude. I swear. Fucking amazing, man. And then, okay, so I needed to read that. So here's the response from that main guy. And here's the Epstein distraction. War in Venezuela. You can call it a distraction, but radical centrist. No, you're a radical leftist. You're a radical leftist, bro. The Epstein distraction is what you're calling this. The Epstein distraction is what's funny is that's actually the Antifa distraction, because the left is talking about anything other than Antifa and the ICE facilities. The only reason that people know about it is because of the people who sit here and report it on Twitter, and they talk about it on right-wing spheres. So it's undeniable it's happening. It's just the left doesn't talk about it because it makes them look bad. And then you got this other guy. They'll revert to a nuclear war to distract from President Predator and the release of the Trump-Epstein pedophiles. So there's having a political persuasion, being an extremist, and then there's being a fucking idiot. If anybody sits here and genuinely thinks that nuclear war is what Trump is going to do, you're stupid. You're stupid. Because Trump would never do nuclear war unless it was mutually assured destruction. So, yeah, we're good. Today, day 120, we have returned to the Trump-Epstein pedophiles. My family members are downloading the emails and texting about them. Well, you guys have fun doing that because you're fucking crazy. OMG, is this as damage control? Gee, look, everybody, I can pretend around children. What? Whatever. Brenda Mento. Wow, did we ever have it wrong, huh? You sure owned all of us. Wouldn't get in the Trump release to seal the deal and prove just how wrong we are. Yeah, release the files. I agree, release the fucking files. But also, that's another thing I hate about leftists, is you can just feel the fucking dripping smugness and arrogance in the text. Did we ever have it wrong, huh? You sure owned all of us. Wouldn't getting the Trump-Epstein pedophiles released just seal the deal and prove just how wrong we are? And then the actual picture they're responding to is Stonekettle saying, the absolute morally bankrupt pimp whose entire business was sex trafficking underage girls to the world's wealthy and powerful thought Trump was an absolute morally bankrupt scumbag and was disgusted and appalled by his behavior. I mean, damn, think about how fucked up that is. Hey, I'm just saying, man. Just because somebody, like, for example, if Hitler sat there and said that Franklin Roosevelt, like, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I'm just on a little tangent right now, but let me tell you too like this. If Hitler called FDR bad, would you take it seriously? Okay. If a fucking pedophile who ran a sex slave island for years, if he calls somebody bad, okay? See, the only reason that these people sit here and say, hey, Donald Trump was called bad by a pedophile, therefore he's bad, is because they already hate Donald Trump. They already despise that motherfucker. So to them, anything that anybody says ever can automatically just be like, hey, this guy, see, we were right, he's wrong, he's a pedo, he's horrible, impeach him, get him out of power so we can have our power, so we can sit there and fuck your kids. And you can sit there and get mad at me and say whatever and this, that, and the other and everything, but at the end of the day, bro, they want to fuck your kids. Or they at least want to make it possible for other people to fuck your kids. Minor attracted persons. The only mine I'd be okay with you being attracted to is a fucking coal mine for the rest of your life, being a slave for the fucking state. You understand me, you fucking pedophile? Fuck. But no, I'm sorry. I'm the guy. The number of times Jeffrey Epstein visited Clinton White House is 17, and then Trump White House is 0. Yep, and they've left that out. The media and the Democrats left that out. How many times did Epstein visit that? 17-0. Okay. Yeah, because of course Trump-Epstein pedophile is supposed to automatically, Trump doesn't want people talking about this. And you know what? Maybe. You know what? Despite how fucking fervent and angry I am at this, I am still gonna leave the door open for it to be possible because I am never gonna say it never is the case. And like, have it be. I'm not sure. Point is being, y'all are fucking lying, okay? And if you're not lying, I'm willing to be wrong. But you guys are fucking lying. I guarantee it. You guys are fucking wrong. And you are pushing so much propaganda. MAGA would be so upset if an email came out that proved Trump helped Epstein cover up the systematic rape of children. Oh, that happened this morning and they don't care. Weird. It didn't happen. You see, and this right here is the fucking venom from the left, okay? This right here. MAGA would be so upset if an email came out that, oh, it did happen. No, it fucking didn't, you liar. Liar. Ban him. That is not free speech. That is a lie designed to make people extreme, radicalized. Ban this motherfucker. That is a verifiable lie. And that's the problem. If you go out and you verifiably lie and you refuse to change, because look, I guarantee you go onto this page, you're going to see a million different fucking things about anti-Republican. Let's just stop here. Remember when Trump ran on exposing all Democrats who were involved with Epstein? Now all of a sudden he's threatening GOP congressmen who are fighting to release all Epstein-related records, saying releasing their information would be a very hostile act to the administration. So far today, only 4 House Republicans have signed the discharge petition. See? Anti-fucking Trump. Why should you keep demanding the release of the Epstein files? Because they were sexually abusing children. Children! And so far they got away with it. That's why. Yes, they should release the files. Of course. Yes. Man totally not on the Epstein list acts like a man totally on the Epstein list. You fucking bitch, Jason. You are a fucking bitch. Stop talking about Epstein. The president of the United States raped children. See? That's a verifiable lie. Arrest this man. That's not free speech. Ban him. That's not free speech. That is on par to saying that Trump is a Nazi, okay? That's on par to, if you sit there and, because when you say that Trump raped somebody, right? When you say that, you are saying that Trump committed a vile act and on children. You want to sit here and allow this, right? This is not free speech. Free speech is, hey, I think communism's kind of cool. That's free speech. Not saying that the president of the United States, not even it is allegated, not even saying allegations. See, this is why I'm not careful with what I say sometimes, because these fuckers don't have to be. He literally is saying the president of the United States raped children when it is verifiably false. Verifiably false. Little Black Book of Context will never be made public. Yeah, that should be made public. It should be. Yes. Dear America, I told you story. Not a warning. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be a warning, not a manual. Yeah, but you see, look, the DOJ and Maxwell's lawyers have made a deal that her Black Book of Contacts will never be made public. Why are people not rioting for this? Okay? Why are people not rioting for this? Where's Antifa battering down the DOJ's doors and going to Maxwell's lawyers' houses? Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they terrorizing them? Because they don't believe what they're saying. That's why. If they believed it, they'd have that same gusto for the ICE facility as they do for Maxwell's lawyers, because they're sitting here talking about the fact that, oh, Trump raped children, and they're not paying attention to the guy and the woman who did the thing and facilitated the thing for other people to do it. And they're saying that the book of contacts will never be made public. So what they're saying is, yeah, we might release the files later, but you're never going to know the full truth. You're never going to know all of this. We're never going to tell you that. We're never going to let you know who Maxwell had on her speed dial. We're not going to let you know who the sex island pedophile rapists are going to, like, you're never going to know who they were contacting. I guarantee you the DOJ, I guarantee you the DOJ is on the fucking payroll of Maxwell and the lawyers. Because why else would you make a deal? What is in that deal? Publicize the deal. Let everybody know exactly what fucking happened within that deal, why it was made, and what the DOJ gets out of it. What does the DOJ get out of hiding the book of contacts for someone who is, like, unless, okay, let me say, unless Maxwell is working with the DOJ to arrest the people who did that, right? Unless she is working with them, why are we hiding the book of contacts? Why? And no cities are going to be burned down for this. No fucking facilities are going to be sieged for months on end by this. No, nothing. Because they don't believe it, that's why. They don't fucking believe it. These people who sit here and say Donald Trump's a pedophile are the same people who don't give a fuck about this. So that's another reason why I don't believe, like, no one is above the law. I agree with that. Let's see what we got here. No one is above the law for Eric Swalwell. Yeah. Mortgage and tax fraud, and he fucked a Chinese spy. I'm not kidding. He fucked a Chinese spy. No one is above the law, right, Eric Swalwell? Representative Eric Swalwell has been referred to the DOJ for alleged mortgage and tax fraud after claiming his home in Washington, D.C. as a primary residence. Let's see what his friends think. No one is above the law. See that? Yeah, no one's above the law, Representative Eric Swalwell, who fucked a Chinese spy, which is another reason why I have an issue with 600,000 H-1B of Chinese people coming into this fucking country, because of the fact that they send spies, and it is verifiable, and they fucked our representatives. And I mean actually fucked, not like metaphorically. I mean like genuinely they had intercourse. And he revealed American secrets to this bitch. And I mean, hey, I love me a good Asian woman too, okay? I got fucking yellow fever, but at the end of the fucking day, bro, there's a difference between, you know, like while she's giving you a handy, it's just like, so what about the American nuclear codes? Some shit like that. You know, like, there's a fucking difference of it, man. We're tired of this shit. You know? It's a basic American value that no one, not even the president, is above the law. Is not above the law. He's already told us that no one is above the law. Exactly how many lawmakers are doing this? Root them all out, even Republican ones. I agree. Get out the Republican fuckers who are sitting there working against the American people. Fuck you. All right? I don't have any names, but get them out. Okay? Compile the list of names of people who are not working for the American people and get them the fuck out. Whether they got to be impeached or fucking voted out, do it. Exactly. He called Trump a traitor while he slept with a Chinese spy. Like, this isn't even a joke. Never forget, Eric Swalwell farted on live TV. Okay, that's fucked. Polled 0% in the primary. Threatened to nuke Americans and got caught banging a Chinese spy. Fang Fang. Now, mortgage and tax fraud. Oh, that's AI. I will say, that's got to be the only thing. Oh, I love that. I love that classic meme. Wait, was that a response to the... Hang on, let me, get that out of here. Oh, that's great. Yeah, but yeah, no one's above the law, bro. No one's above the law. Mr. Swalwell. No one is above the law, motherfucker. How do you spell fascist? They're all fucking idiots. Antifa. Yeah, pull them back. Pull them back. And look, they're going to get up and go right forward again. Look, see? Go forward again. Shit, what did he do? Go back. I was looking at the girl. What did he do? Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes. Get his ass, bro. See, because look, let me tell you. Some of you there who might ask, why are they doing it when he didn't sit there and, like, launch it in a violent way? First off, he picked up the can. You don't know how he's going to throw it, okay? So it doesn't matter if he launches it or do it. There's the possibility of him launching it to cave someone's head in with a fucking metal can. There's the possibility, okay? So you want to exterminate that possibility as quickly as possible. Secondly, the way he threw it with anger. Look at this shit. Go back, mute. He threw that shit with anger, bro. Look at his face. Look at his face, man. You see? Now, I'm not saying, like, in his face, he was, like, vehemently hating and everything, but as he picks it up, he looks directly at the camera and throws it towards the camera, all right? That right there is a symbol of him being, you know, violent towards the cameraman. It's just, you see, but to leftists, I heard this somewhere, and it's a perfect example of how the left and the right view violence, right? The leftists, to them, it's a dial, okay? Because to this guy, that is not, oh, I just threw a can at him. It's not so bad. I didn't shoot him. Yes, but he threw a can half-heartedly with his limp wrist. But on the left, violence is a dial. That was about a 4, okay? I'd consider that a 4, but it was still violence. On the right, violence is a switch, all right? Like, if you see, and it's a perfect example, right? You see these guys, these ICE officers, I call them heroes, you know? I call them heroes. We're going to just let it play while it's muted, right? So they come out, they go to the people who are sitting down, they say, move, and then you got these people over here who are being respectful and moving with the cameras. So then they sit there and tell the people standing there to move, so they pick them up and they move them. And you might sit there and say, oh, that's violent, but they're not moving, so they have to sit there and use that violence to move them, right? You have to move them. And then this guy over here grabs the can and he throws it. So to him, he threw the can in a response to violence being happening. And you see the difference in violence, right? So he dragged him, he threw the can. Now watch the tackle. I've already seen this a few times. Throws the can, boom, immediate fucking tackle. He's like sacked that motherfucker. Because I guarantee you, these ICE agents, if they're not staunch, hardcore right-wingers, most of them probably are, but they're at least right-wing enough to see violence as a flip instead of a dial. So you get a perfect, like, dichotomy right here. The guy in the brown jacket uses a 4 on the fucking violence switch, because on the violence dial, because that is what he sees it as, is a dial. So he goes to 4. Boom. The nice ICE agent back there sees violence as a switch. You flip that motherfucker, and boom. For a second, I thought his head snapped. But no, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That right there is the reason why the left has been able to get away with violence, because they'll go from like half-ass tossing a metal can, they'll go from that to, you know, throwing pipe bombs and Molotovs, you know? But the right, we'll just fucking shoot you, you know? We don't give a fuck. We'll just pop a bullet in you. But then the left has gotten to the point where they've hit the maximum 10 on the violence dial, because they killed Charlie Kirk. So at this point, I'm actually kind of mad. Well, no, I'm not mad. It was appropriate. It was 100% appropriate. I have zero issue with the way that these ICE agents are handling themselves, and they should be entirely encouraged and promoted for doing such. Okay? Because one more time, the guy in the brown jacket uses a 4 on the violence dial, and the ICE agent turns the violence switch on. Watch. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Rip it. Yes. Yes, even better. Rip his fucking mask off. Absolutely. Yes. Expose these pussies. Expose these fucking degenerates. My only issue with the way they're doing this is that there's not enough ICE agents out there. Unless that is every ICE agent in that building, there needs to be more out there. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. Mass army. Because fuck you, this is an invasion. Yeah, drag his ass. Go, go. Hear the screaming like banshees, bro. This is insane. Like these people genuinely fucking sound like the what do you call it? They genuinely sound like the fucking the spirits of hell. Just pay attention. Just listen. Listen. See? That fucking scream in the background, bro. See, now what would be completely fucked up is if that scream was a woman being raped. That'd be completely fucked up. I don't know. That's just what popped in my head immediately. Because think about it. With violence like this, why would it be out of the realm of possibility for there to be rapes unreported, right? Why would it be out of the realm of possibility? So, I mean, I assume that that's an autistic fucking leftist, and I mean autistic in the degenerate and the pejorative way, not the scientific way, because I separate those two. But a completely autistic leftist, you know, who just sits there and is screaming because the ICE agents are actually using proper force. Yeah. Exactly. Treat them like the sacks they are, man. Fuck, that's good. That was cathartic. Oh, that was cathartic. That was so good. Yeah, let's since we're on that topic, let's go ahead and see what we got. Jesse Waters went off on Portland saying Portland police have become Antifa bouncers. That is fucking right. That is right. Antifa bouncers slamming the local cops for shielding leftist terrorists. Portland is looking like Gaza before the peace deal. A national long overdue.
Bouncers shielding they-thems from the feds.
And they're
like,
running
look
for
at that.
cover behind Portland police.
Fucking give me better quality. Give me better quality, bro. Ah, you jerk.
Oh my God.
But look
You've
at that.
You gotta be kidding me.
Like, look at that. Go back.
Cover behind Portland police. Oh my God.
You see that? Look at that. That right there is literally the people up top giving them the order to do so. And anybody who's, oh, I'm just following orders, you know, because it's one of two things. It's either I'm just following orders or they believe this shit. And both are equally as toxic and terrifying. Okay?
You've got to be kidding me.
We're standing there, we don't know what's going on. So it's just like she's literally running behind you guys. We don't know why she's running. So.
The anarchists suddenly love law enforcement as long as
suddenly love law enforcement. Ain't that the fucking truth, bro?
they can use them as human shields. And to the cops' credit, they are cracking down against bad parallel parking.
This is a traffic violation. Oh, okay. This is a traffic violation. All right. Get it out of here.
All right, Portland PD shutting this down. It's a traffic violation.
Besides, you guys just standing here. I'm just asking you a question. I live here.
Next.
What are you
Do
guys
not
doing?
interrupt me in a traffic stop. Get over there now.
Oh, you bitch. See, that's why women shouldn't be cops. That's why women shouldn't be cops. Because in my mind, get over there now. I cannot take that seriously. You are nothing more than an arrogant, power-hungry fucking cunt. That's all you are. That's all you are. Not all women, just this one. And most other women on the fucking police force, okay?
The National Guard, still banned. Trump won the case yesterday, but we're still waiting on one other order. Democrats are demanding troops disobey orders.
Demanding troops disobey orders. Yeah, because that right there is what the Democrats stand for. Fuck actually helping our people. Fuck all of that. Do what makes us better. Do what makes the people subservient. Because that's what they want. They don't want a population that is self-sustainable. They want a population that is subservient to the government. That's why they're so pushing for EBT. Universal basic income even. If your money comes from the government and they don't like what you're doing, they can take it away. If you're working at a job and you're just a dick, but you're a really good work and they can't fire you because you're just a dick, they can't take your money away. But that's what the left wants.
Or else.
The oath of service says that you are obligated to follow the Constitution. There may be times when you face an order from your chain of command that is illegal. And the whether or not...
Illegal. They know the words that they're using, okay? This is a linguistic warfare with these motherfuckers, okay? This is genuinely, and it has been ever since they started calling Trump a Nazi. It has been ever since they called Reagan a Nazi, bro. This has been the kind of linguistic warfare that has been happening ever since communism fucking infiltrated, you know, the fucking America, okay? This is the kind of fucking linguistic warfare that they use because they know it works. When you don't know the context and you just hear someone say, you get an order that's illegal, everybody knows what illegal means. So their first thought process when they hear is, oh shit, man, what they're going in there telling them to, you know, crack down on civilians. They're telling them to capture slaves. What are they telling them to do? Oh, wait. They're telling them to shut down an insurrection that's been going on for near half a year now? Bars. Genuinely, man. This is the kind of stuff that we need to be wary of. The way people say things and how people say things and how they try to discredit all of these things in life. All because they fucking sit there and they can't be bothered with somebody having a difference of opinion to them. They can't be fucking bothered for somebody to actually, oh shit, hang on, wait, oop. That's why you don't fuck with your audio mixing while you're streaming, folks. I turned it off and it sounded weird. It sounds a bit strange. Does it sound a bit better like this? Maybe like this? I don't know. But that's my entire point, man. Is these people, they want a subservient populace that is only going to be like, yes, daddy government. Yes, daddy government. Please don't take my EBT away. I want my ding-dongs and wham-whams and zoom-zams. I want my Twinkies. You know, I think it's kind of funny. The Twinkies used to be the fat people's favorite food. Now I never hear about it. I never hear anybody talking about Twinkies. It's always some other shit. But I mean, I get it, man. I get it. As a fat person myself, I get it, man. Food is fucking great. I love food. It is delicious. Okay? But you want to know what'll help you lose weight? Fucking poverty. I mean, that'll help you lose weight, you know? So that's the problem, though. Now, look, I'm not saying that everybody needs to be in abject poverty, but we need to have some kind of artificial struggle along with the regular struggle, okay? Because if people sit there and they have, what do you call it? They have a pretty privileged life, and they have no struggle, and everything's done for them, and they're pampered, you know? So when I say artificial struggle, I don't mean like, you know, the government should create terrorist units. No, nothing like that. I'm not talking about Dead Cell from MGS2, no. Nothing like that, but I mean, like, let your kids fuck up, you know? Let them, don't try to sit there and like, take your kids and make them, you know, these perfect pampered beings, and you're hugging them too much, you know, and always trying to fucking do things for them. And I get it. There are things that we need to do for them. I'm not saying let them be self-sufficient. They can't. That's the entire point, okay? That's the entire point. But I mean, at the end of the day, people don't respect what it is that I don't know. Just play the video. I'm word salad in here.
You follow that order in the moment is going to be a decision that any given soldier or airman or Marine is going to have to make based upon their moral compass.
So basically, what you're saying is, if you believe in communism, don't fucking sit there and follow an order that tells you to protect innocent people, right? That's what he's saying. He basically just sent out a call to his base, the people who are the communists, the Antifas. He just sent out a call to them and is just like, hey, go ahead and, defy orders of your superiors, man. Do the thing that the military drives into you that you should not do.
As long as we're disobeying orders from the federal government, do I still have to pay my taxes?
Exactly. Oh yeah, the fucking I find that hilarious. Oh yeah, the military can sit there and not follow orders, but you still have to pay taxes or you're going to go to federal prison. And it's funny to me how very selective they are in the process of, what do you call it? The process of like following laws. It very much rules for thee, but not for me. And that right there is the core of any kind of totalitarian government, even if it's not a dictatorship, because we're not in a dictatorship right now. That right there is the kind of stuff that is a huge issue and that needs to be taken care of. But then we don't take care of it, And it's just, what's the point, man? What's the point? Like, if you're not going to sit there and protect us, why the fuck should I pay you? Because make no mistake about it, your paychecks come from the taxpayer, bro. Your paychecks come from our checks. I'm just not going to fucking pay you. I'm good. I'll stop paying my taxes. Take whatever you take out of my fucking paycheck and then leave me be. Shit. If you take too little, oh well. Shit, you should have thought about that, motherfucker. The only way you're going to ever get around that is if you take my entire check. And if you do that, I guarantee you a lot of other Americans would fucking be up in arms.
Even though dead bodies are rotting on the street, even though schools have closed down from tear gas, and there's fires every night, Portland's just a walk in the park. It's just a bunch of Teletubbies in the trenches.
Let's just be clear. Portland is not lawless. We have been extraordinary in our resistance to Donald Trump's very...
Yep. So basically, it's not lawless. We've been extraordinary in our resistance to Donald Trump, a.k.a. we're being lawless. Okay? Because what do you do to resist what you believe is a dictator? You become lawless. You stop following the dictatorial laws that they put onto the books. So, by definition, it's a fucking lawless state. It's a lawless city. By definition. Because what do you do whenever you don't agree with laws and you have to be different, you have to be better? You fucking go lawless against them. Maxine Dexter, the face of why the Western world is going down, liberal white women who sit there and say, we're not being lawless, we're just being resilient against Donald Trump, aka we are terrorizing people. In a massive development, Secretary Marco Rubio designates Antifa a foreign terrorist organization, and an escalation above the current domestic designation. This will surge the government's ability to choke their funding source and end their activities. Fuck yeah. And a quote from Rubio: the Department of State is designating four Antifa groups as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designed global terrorists. The United States will continue using all available tools to protect our nation from these anti-American, anti-capitalist, and anti-Christian terrorist groups. Thank you, Marco. Here directly from Layla, TPUSA chapter member at Berkeley, who had glass bottles thrown at her. It's not safe anymore to walk around Berkeley as a conservative. It's a very dangerous place. Antifa is prevalent. It's a domestic terrorist group that needs to be handled. Do you think Klan members would be allowed to do? Yes, exactly. And people sit there and be like, I remember Bill Burr made a joke, a fucking stupid joke. He was like, oh, why do you think people haven't messed with the Ku Klux Klan? It's because they're not going after white people. Nah. Because, let me tell you, if the Klan sat there and terrorized white people the same way that they terrorized... Because, there's a difference between you really don't know who these people are, and then they commit a violent act, and they, lynch people, and then you find them and you arrest them, and it's like an isolated incident. This has been going on for 4 months. Not to mention the summer of violence in 2020. I'm not going to call it the summer of love because that's fucking degenerate. It's a summer of violence in 2020. Not to mention Occupy Wall Street, not to mention the original Berkeley riots, not to mention riots fucking, every couple years because we don't get what we want all the time. And it's always the same reason, but a different reason, man. It's always, we're not getting what we want. Why aren't we getting it? Republicans! And they just change the thing. We're not getting food stamps. Why? Donald Trump! And that's all it is. And I guarantee you, after Trump's term, they're going to be switching it. Oh, we're not getting our, we're not getting our abortion pills. We're not getting our contraceptives. Why? J.D. Vance! And then they're going to riot because of that. And it's a pattern. It's a common fucking pattern that for some reason people just don't want to do anything about. Or if they do something about it, it feels not disingenuous, but very, very strange in how they do it. It doesn't feel like it's the most effective way to do it. And I get there's a lot of governmental red tape. There's a lot of bureaucratic red tape. That doesn't change the fact that people are dying, people are being hurt, people are being bloodied, beaten and bruised. They're being destroyed mentally, physically. And even if they do come back and they make a full recovery, these scars stay. Mentally, physically, they stay. So that's all I'm saying. Donald Trump, you gotta pick it up, man. You gotta pick it up. Because I love what you're doing. I feel like you're going a bit too slow. This shit should have stopped 2 months ago, okay? It should have stopped after that Doge employee got curb stomped and bloodied. But no, we're the bad guys because we don't want our people to get bloodied. I don't want fucking Antifa to get bloodied if they're just sitting there doing nothing and they're just talking. I don't want them to get beaten and bloodied. But the second you go after somebody else, yeah, you're going to get your ass handed. Let's go ahead and listen to what this pretty girl has to say. She's Layla from the TPUSA chapter.
It's not safe anymore to walk around Berkeley as a conservative. It's a very dangerous place. Antifa is prevalent, and it's a domestic terror group that needs to be handled with. And quite frankly, with all their defund the police chants, I don't think the police are intervening enough and protecting the students enough.
Antifa is basically like if we had a group that just in the South, if we had a group in the South that had a uniform and went around and terrorized people who were trying to hold speeches, like the Klan did back in the day, like we'd be able to say this is a domestic terror group and should be targeted accordingly. And like when you have these Antifa urchins who will harass any conservative event in Berkeley, that is a domestic intimidation terror group.
It's not safe anymore.
Yeah, that is a domestic terror group and it's not safe. Party of foreign agents, Marxist, communist, Islamist, wannabe murderers, actual Nazis, Antifa, drug cartels, child mutilation supporters, perverts, transgenders, and illegals. This is not the America. So you're saying Democrats are officially that party. What's your description? I love the Bible verse. To a Persian descent. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. What do you got on these? Go back. Here.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
Yep. That's all I'm saying. Why? Like, there's enough said. Enough said. We came here to change this state in the image of our people. Nope. Fuck no. Go away. Go back to where you came from, and if you don't, I'll put you in the fucking ground if you try to change the state into the fucking image of our people. Oh, fuck you, you fucking terrorist. I don't care where you're from. You could be from fucking Libya, Syria, Albania. I don't give a fuck. Go the fuck back to where you came from, and if you don't, you better watch your back while on American soil. That's what I want, okay? I want them to be as afraid to go outside as we are. And until they make us not afraid, they should be afraid. Actual Nazis? How so? Google Graham Planter. Fucking legend right there. Fucking legend. Still better than MAGA? You are, see, that's a cult. That's a fucking cult. Not MAGA is an evil cult. No, the evil cult is the cult that supports Nazis, Antifa, drug cartels, child mutilation supporters, perverts, transgenders, and illegals. And then Marxists, communists, Islamists, wannabe murderers, people who want to kill people, who want to rape children and take off their cock. And make it to where they can never have puberty. But you want to support that because something Trump's a Nazi, Trump's Hitler. I would rather cut a kid's cock off than support Nazis. Like, what the fuck, man? That's the problem with modern America. This collage right here. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Gilbert and the crew are 2 of the worst people you know. And you see, Jay, please stop. Okay, really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them. You know, I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to. You were trying to talk about hurting Jennifer Gilbert's children. Yes, I told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. And you said you should kill them, and that you think they're breeding fascists. Jay Jones got elected after saying that he wishes death upon his political opponent after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And you're going to sit here and tell me, that we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys whenever these people say, oh yeah, this person, Adolf fucking Hitler and Pol Pot from Cambodia, communist fucking Cambodia, you take all of them and you're going to shoot the person who's a conservative because they disagree with you. That's a fucking cult. Not MAGA. The left Democrats who want to sit there and say that between Hitler, Pol Pot, and some, like, conservative person on the opposite side of your political aisle, you would rather double tap the person with the opposing political opinion who just thinks differently than you, rather than the people who genuinely instigated, facilitated, and carried out genocide. So, okay, let me tell you like this. When he says that Gilbert is worse than the Holocaust. He says that Gilbert is worse than World War II. He says that Gilbert is worse than 50, 60 fucking million people dying. Rape camps, concentration camps, the rape of Germany, the fucking slaughtering of various Slavic people, the fucking rape of France, okay? The rape of Poland. All of these things that were instigated because Hitler wanted to have his Grand Reich. He says that this political opponent, who happens to be a conservative Republican, is worse than World War II and the fallout after it. Because let's be honest, everything on the second half of the 1900s was a fallout because of World War II. We're just now getting over it, and we're still not getting over it. I'll end on that. Let me tell you like this. This will be the final thing I'll say, and then I gotta go. People like Jay Jones, people who agree with his ideology, and the people who would much prefer to be on his side of the political aisle, they think that modern day American Republican conservatives, not even Republican, just fucking conservatives, or anybody who disagrees with them ever, is worse than the Holocaust, the rape of Poland, the rape of Germany, the occupation of France, okay, the 60 million lives lost, the countless trauma that has been instilled on a geopolitical scale. They think that modern American conservatives are worse than that. Okay? So just keep that in mind when that's who you're voting for. Because you are voting for somebody who would much rather see their political opponents murdered. If you ask me, what he's doing is on the level of Nazis and Hitler, you know, and Stalin. But of course, they would glaze Stalin and say Stalin's fucking awesome because they actually like communism. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a change. There's going to be a cultural change in America. There's going to be a political change in America. Everybody you ever thought knew anything about politics is going to be seen to be a fraud, is going to be seen to be somebody who would much prefer to exploit the system than actually help the American people. And there's going to be a new wave of people who are very young, very angry, and very motivated to get their shit done. And the landscape of geopolitics in the next 50 to 100 years is going to change dramatically. And I think it's going to change for the better. But I don't know. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I believe what I believe. Fuck it. Have a good night, guys.